I'm on mute. Oh, I caught it. I caught it. Ooh. Wonder why I had that on mute. I think I accidentally hit it. Um, I had ordered some more Taylor Schabusiness incident reports. So I'm gonna go over these. They're gonna be from July 2024 to July July 24th, 2024 to July 16th, 2025. So I know there's a few of my viewers out there like myself that's very intrigued by this character, this Taylor Business. So I'm always trying to get anything new about her in jail or anything because she is interesting. Um, if you guys aren't familiar with, I did a quick chat GPT. I have a playlist of Taylor. I recommend checking it out. I have her body cams, interviews, very, very crazy. I'm thinking I might play little clips of them sometime as I'm reading these. Um, but I did a chat GPT just as like summary of Taylor. So for those of you that maybe not familiar with this case, and this is a summary, this is a very like summarized summary, but I'll just do it real quick and then we'll read the stuff. So it's so clear summary. Murder. So she murdered Shad Therian, dismemberment, and SA. She was arrested February 2022 after the body of 24-year-old Shad Therian was found in his Green Bay home, decapitated and dismembered. She was charged with first-degree intentional homicide. Oh, wait. You know what? I forgot something really quick. Hold on one second. I forgot to set up my live. Hold on. 1 second. It'll be 1 minute. I'm glad I remember just now. Um, okay. I haven't been doing lives that much. I just usually I'm on like kind of autopilot doing this and I haven't done them and I haven't been doing them that much, guys. Okay, so first degree, she's charged with first degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, third degree SA in connection with the death. In July 2023, a jury found her guilty on all 3 counts. In September 2023, she was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the murder. Additional consecutive prison terms were imposed for the corpse mutilation and SA. Then we know she had some assault charges after that, attacking people. So she attacked her lawyer. She attacked 2 of her lawyers, different ones. They didn't press charges though, but prison staff, that was a charge. So assault on prison staff, prison guard. While incarcerated, she was accused of attacking a sergeant and other staff members, including grabbing a tray and swinging a small table at an officer, which I did that where we had watched the body cam on that a few months ago. It came out. If you guys remember, there's some body cam of the person of this incident that I'm talking about. So it says prosecutors initially charged her with the battery by prisoner, a felony with up to 6 years in that incident. October 2025, she accepted a plea deal and pleaded no contest to an amended misdemeanor charge of disorderly conduct. But I mean, she's got a life sentence anyway, but Schabusiness has had violent outbursts in court, including attacking her own attorney during hearings. It says no criminal charges were filed solely for those attorney attack incidents, but there was 2 different attorneys she attacked. So that's basically, I mean, that's a huge, very vague summary. But like I said, I do have a playlist that goes over the reports and the horrible details of Shad's mother finding his head in a bucket and finding some other stuff in a bucket. But the crazy thing is they almost were like, is this real? Like, can you imagine like I mean, you're not expected to see that. So it was almost like they were debating whether it was real or not. Like, is this real? Like, is this real? What the heck? How are you going to find a head in a bucket of your son? It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay. So let's read some of these. Let me see who's in here. Hey, Skate Girl. Hey, Flojo. Thank you. Um, what state did this happen? In Wisconsin. This was in Wisconsin. Yeah. Oh, wait, Wolfpack. What sergeant though? So terribly traumatized she never returned to work. The one she attacked, or what do you mean? Somebody that was working the case? Allison, hello. All right, so we're gonna be doing a lot of reading because it's just incident reports. Now, if you remember, there's a lot of repetitive stuff where they have different for each person that was a witness in the attacks, they'll have their take on it. I don't want to just skip over them because some of them will add like new things in their reports. So we'll just kind of, I did read these, really quick last week or a few days ago. But let me share my screen. Oh, the one she attacked. Yes, I seen that. We talked about that when I did that update. Yes, she did. And that's why it's like she's like, yeah, it might not sound like anything because like she didn't get hurt or anything really, but like the trauma of it was like scared her to death. Now, I don't remember if I had seen that she quit. If if that's the case, I mean, I was reading about her. So I probably did read that if she quit. Um I think it was like last month or whatever. Check out my playlist. I'm pretty sure I put the new ones as I update her case. I'm pretty sure I'm adding them to the playlist because I usually go through all my videos and add them to the proper playlist. So, okay, so let's do this. How many people are following the Guthrie case? Savannah and Nancy Guthrie. Because I at first, I was um not I was kind I mean, I was kind of following it. My mom has been following it really closely, so she got me kind of into it. So the last week or so I have been, and I keep saying like it's too late to cover it now. Not like I can't cover it now, but it's just like I wish I would have done it right at the beginning. And I keep if I would have just done it a week ago and I kept saying, "Oh, it's too late, it's too late." So now I did do a quick video on it this morning. It's like, man, I guess it's never too late to cover it. And now that I've been following it anyway, that case is crazy. I don't even know what to think on that case. Oh, you have been? I didn't know you were. Um, all right, let me take a sip of it. Oh, wait, I have my McDonald's coffee and then hold on. I'm on mute. I'm on mute. Yes. Why was I on mute? Caught it quick. I only got a sentence in. All right, let's do this. So on July 24th, 2024, at approximately 2:35 p.m., correctional officer, I'm thinking that's what that stands for, corrections officer, Chavez was working my assigned post in redacted. Officer 133. As I stepped out of wing 3 into the hallway, walking towards the bubble, I heard yelling coming from redacted. And they put redaction med health info, but that doesn't, I don't know. What you think that would that wouldn't fall under that, but because they heard yelling coming from redacted. Upon arrival, I turned on my body worn camera to I saw PIOC Schabusiness Taylor and Sergeant Keener redacted. Schabusiness was combative, struggling while her restraints were on, moving her body side to side. OC had been deployed. Um, Sergeant Keener was standing off to the right side of Schabusiness, leaning against the med bed, or leaning against the redacted, something redacted bed, with her head tilted back as if in distress. I also noticed that Sergeant Keener's neck was red. Officer Mao had responded to the incident as well. Sergeant Keener appeared to be in a position that she didn't want to be in. So I took the initiative to deploy my OC. Officer Mao had to deploy his OC as well. Then Sergeant Keener radioed for first responders. The three of us were outside of Med Health, so I mean outside of redacted. Let me just look up something. What? I'm trying to think. OC. It's some kind of spray. What is OC? I gotta look it up. It's driving me nuts now. I was just thinking, shoot, I should have looked that up. It's some kind of stuff they spray, right? Because they talk about like in some of these later on about having to wash it off of her and stuff. But I'm trying to think, what does that stand for? I'm looking it up. Does anybody know offhand so I don't have to look it up? OC. Let me see. Okay, I got it. It's Olaricin capsicum spray. It's a non-lethal inflammatory self-defense tool derived from chili peppers that causes immediate intense burning sensations, involuntary eye closure, and temporary blindness. Designed to incapacitate. It is used by law enforcement and civilians with effective ranges often between 10 to 16 feet. Key effects include severe skin irritation and breathing difficulties, involuntary closure, intense pain, respiratory coughing, gagging, difficulty breathing. In the skin is extreme burning sensation, often described as a severe sunburn for some, or for some intense pain. Effects are immediate. They can persist for 30 to 60 minutes or longer, causing disorientation and incapacitation. Um, wow. Okay. So that's that. All right. So they took that out, started deploying it. So it looks like how many officers? We had Sergeant did it. I mean, Sergeant, I don't know. A few of the officers sprayed it. Okay. Then Sergeant Keener radioed for first responders. The three of us were then outside of redacted, and Schabusiness had been directed to the floor. She was in a kneeling position, coughing from the effects of OC. First responders arrived on the scene. Officer Reyes and Officer Gundrum arrived. Sorry, why is it hard to see like where this ends and the next one? Okay. Then Officer Zirin, Captain Rodriguez, and Captain McLean arrived. Captain Rodriguez told me to close day space. Officer Smith and Officer Gundrum escorted Schabusiness to the redacted shower. I don't know what are they redacting the specific shower? I don't know. But he escorted her to the shower in blank. Once Schabusiness was tethered in place, the blank shower and the hand restraints were removed. So when she was in place in the shower, they removed her hand restraints, and Captain McLean and Rodriguez left. After the shower was completed, Schabusiness was placed in hand restraints, a waist belt, and leg restraints. Officer Schmidt Jr., Sergeant Stavola, and Captain McLean escorted Schabusiness from blank to RHU, where she was placed in TLU. Captain McLean conducted a brief in the annex. No further incident. This ends my involvement. So that was last July, well, 2 Julys ago, because it was July 2024. Let me page down. Let me use my new keyboard stuff. I got this new keyboard and my other one didn't have a page down. Um, okay. A lot of like fill in stuff, like this kind of stuff that I could skip. Just like, okay. So this is gonna be the same attack, but it's gonna be a different officer. So on 7/24, Officer Gundrum was working on my assigned post SS in second shift at 2:30 p.m. The emergency alert tone on the institution radio. Control Sergeant Magam called for Team 1 responders to blank. When I entered blank, I could tell that the OC had been deployed. The smell in the air and people coughing. While entering the blank inside of the blank, Sergeant Keener exited and directed me to get leg restraints. Sergeant Keener was stating the inmate had assaulted both her and the blank. When entering the room, Sergeant Stavola was securing inmates your business. Left side by they were securing her left side by the arm, and Officer Zarin was on the right side by the arm. Inmate Schabusiness was lying face down. Captain McLean was giving directives for inmate Schabusiness, who was constantly squirming and thrashing back and forth on the floor. While I began placing leg restraints on from the left to right, Smith began securing the legs from the left side. Once both restraints were on and double locked, I moved to the right side, securing the legs. Once inmate Schabusiness complied, sorry. Once she complied to all staff directions by Captain McLean, and the directive was given for inmate Schabusiness to place her knees up to her chest, and when we could assist her to her feet, and then escort her to blank shower cell, inmate Schabusiness began bringing her knees to chest, and then assisted her to her feet. I'm trying to say, because she was originally, was she on her back or stomach? What did it say? I forget. So I'm just trying to picture it with me. You know me, I have to picture it like exactly in my head. Um, I was trying to see, didn't it say face down on the floor? I was trying to find that. Oh yeah, face down. Okay. So she was face down, and then they had to bring her knees up, I guess, and then bring her to her feet. Okay. Business. Okay, so they could assist her to her feet and escort her to the shower. Okay. We began escorting out of the blank, Sergeant Stavola escorting her on the left side and myself on the right. We headed to the blank shower for the strip search to be completed, and a shower was offered. Move up a little bit. Um, when approaching cell, Officer Smith placed the tether on inmate Business's right wrist and removed waist belt. Inmate Business was directed to kneel down so the leg restraints could be removed by Officer Smith. Once removed, she was escorted to a standing position and to enter the cell. The cell door was secured, and I began removing handcuffs from left to right. The tether was left on for conducting with strip search. Once strip search was done, inmate Business was explained that the handcuffs would be placed back on, and she was going to be exiting the blank cell. Officer Ziren opened the cell door and I placed my hand in escort hold, hands placed on elbow, on Business's left arm. Um, Officer Zarin was on the right side, and Officer Smith placed waist belt on. Business was directed to a kneeling position, and the leg restraints were placed on by officer. Okay. By 3:10, we arrived at the entrance, and restraints were removed in reverse order. There are no further issues. I'm going to share my screen differently so I could be looking this way. It's too hard to like read because when I go from here to here, I don't know. I can't explain it, but hold on. Let me redo this. I'm going to share this side because that just was odd. I don't know how I used to read all the kiosks, I don't know. That just seems, well, you know what I usually do is I bring the screen closer to me, but I have my coffee warmer on, and if I did that, the heat would be right under the monitor, and I don't want to do that. So that's probably why I'm having trouble, and I have to switch it right now because Okay. All right. So let's bring this over here and this over here. All righty. Much better. Okay. That's so much better. Let me take one more sip. All right, so let's go to the next one. Let me hide this. You notice I got a new chair? I got that chair where Zeke could sit on the side of me. He's been doing it. He's been doing it. I'm trying it. My goal is to have him here when I'm doing lives. But since I'm talking, he's weird if I sit there and talk to the screen, he knows somebody's on the other end. So I got to get him used to it. And I'll get a Zeke cam. It's like a little spot. I'll have to share the video I have of him sitting there. He's so cute. He's so cute. Okay. So a lot of skippy skip. Okay. Same incident. I might skip a little around because if it's a lot of repeats, but like I said, you saw that there was some extra details because it's from a different perception. So this is 2:35. This is Captain McLean, heard an alert tone, dispatched to control center for team 1 responders to report to blank. He arrived in the restrictive housing unit, went through the hallway that goes to blank. When I arrived, officers Aaron and Keener outside blank. Keener informed me that inmate Schabusiness had attacked her. So she attacked Keener, and then I observed Sergeant Stavola had a hold of inmate Schabusiness's left arm. Inmate Schabusiness was in the room laying on her stomach in plank position. Inmate Schabusiness had a waist belt on and was handcuffed in the front. I directed Officer Gundram, Zuriran, and Smith to go hands-on to inmate Schabusiness. Schabusiness attempted to come to her knees, and I directed staff to stabilize Schabusiness onto the ground to minimize movement. And then it says, when arrival into the room, numerous staff and inmate Schabusiness were coughing because incapacitated agents were deployed. Okay, so it's just because talking about how she was secured. She was secured on the ground. Yeah, basically explain how they got her to her feet. And then it says, inmate Schabusiness did, and she was assisted to a standing position. Schabusiness had orange substance on her face from the incapacitating agents and that were utilized. Inmate Schabusiness was escorted by Sergeant Stavola and Officer Gundram down the hall to the blank shower. They placed a tether on her. Schabusiness. I asked inmate Schabusiness if she was going to comply with a strip search, and she stated yes. The handcuffs were removed and the tether remaining on. I informed inmate Schabusiness that a strip search was going to be conducted, and she had to also remove the braids from her hair. See, that's a new little detail that we didn't hear. Okay. Inmate Schabusiness said she would. Officers Zenren and Chavez completed a strip search with no contraband being found. A decontamination shower was then given. As a decontamination shower was given, I briefed Blank and Sergeant Keener of their injuries and the events. They reported that Schabusiness was in the blank on the unit. Sergeant Keener stated that at that time she attempted to maintain control of inmate Schabusiness, and the metal tray in her room hit Sergeant Keener in the head. And inmate Schabusiness became resistive. So wait, so she's saying a lot of this is blanked out, but it's saying they reported Schabusiness was in the blank, okay, and then she attempted it. So this Keener attempted to maintain control of her, but what was she doing that she needed to maintain control? Somehow the metal tray in the room hit her in the head, and then Schabusiness became resistive. As the shower was completed, Zarin gave a security gown to Schabusiness. I asked inmate Schabusiness if she needed medical attention, and she said that her body was burning. I informed Schabusiness that her body's going to continue to burn from the OC that was utilized. Handcuffs and tether were placed onto inmate Schabusiness, and the door was opened. Schabusiness was assisted to a kneeling position, and leg restraints were applied. Shower shoes were given to inmate Schabusiness, and she was escorted to the restrictive housing unit and placed into cell blank. Inmate was Schabusiness was assisted to a kneeling position, and they removed the leg restraints. She was then assisted to a standing position. The waist belt was removed. She stepped into the cell and door was secured. Handcuffs and tether then removed. I informed Schabusiness that at the current time she was approved a security gown and a security mat. Inmate Schabusiness was placed into control separation status. I attempted to ask Schabusiness why she assaulted staff, but she declined to talk to me and said, "Get the F away from my door." Classic Schabusiness over here. Very hard. I mean, she's just always combative. Anyway, the team conducted a brief away from the cell. A wellness check was completed with no further injuries. At the debrief, Officer Mal and Officer Chavez informed me that they also utilized their MK3 OC spray on inmate Schabusiness. All staff involved were instructed to complete incident reports of their involvement. Employment assistance programs were offered. Sergeant Keener was sent out to the hospital for medical treatment. Keener was directed to complete an employee injury packet and complete her incident report upon return from the hospital. She declined medical attention but was given an employee injury pack. All MK3OC that were utilized were replaced. At the time of the incident, Schabusiness was in administrative confinement. DOC 112 was initiated for the control placement. Deputy Warden Rebel, was notified of the assault. Assault shall be documented into the assault SharePoint. Video footage was downloaded from the incident, and inmate Schabusiness was placed on blank conduct report shall be completed for the assault. I'll try to order that video. I'm not sure I'll be able to get it. I don't know. Okay. So now supervisor comments. So here's some comments about the incident. Informational alert tone was dispatched for control to have team responders to report. Okay, I'm going to skip some of this though. So it's saying that she attacked Sergeant Keener. The incapacitating agents were used. Schabusiness was laying in the blank. Schabusiness was in the blank with a waist belt and was handcuffed. Staff went on and placed leg restraints on. Keener was removed from the area. Staff assisted inmate Schabusiness to a standing position. I guess nothing's really. She would not talk to Captain McLean. Yeah, nothing else really that we didn't already talk about. Okay, so now. Well, this is another one. Security director, chief comments is going to be the same thing. She stood up quickly and assaulted blank by twisting her arm. Oh, there's new stuff. Wait, is this the same incident? It doesn't give a date. It's got to be. Let me just read it. I know it's the same. This is 8/9. Let's see. Inmate Schabusiness 705-826 was out in the. Oh, this is different, huh? Was out in the blank. During this time, Schabusiness stood up quickly and assaulted blank by twisting her arm. Inmate Schabusiness also threw a metal tray table at Sergeant Keener, which hit her in the head. Okay, this is the same thing. But look, it's giving us more information. So she was out in whatever, it's redacted. She stood up, assaulted Keener by twisting her arm, and then threw a metal tray at Sergeant Keener, which hit her in the head. Keener utilized her OC and sprayed inmate Schabusiness. Inmate was eventually stabilized onto the ground. Additional staff were dispatched. Keener left the area. Enough staff arrived to take over. She was escorted to the shower where she received a shower. Wait, this sounds like, is this the body cam that we think? Is this where she was getting her medical? See, the reason I didn't recognize it is because all the redactions. I think this is the one, right? Where she was getting treatment for, what was it now? I read that incident report, which is different than this. The incident report was like their incident report that's, I don't know how to describe it, but it wasn't actually this. It was like more set up like the ones we see like when they're charged or whatever. But it had more information, I feel like. Is this what that is? Yeah, okay, I think it is. I didn't recognize it until when they described like the twisting in the arm and then the metal tray again, and then it hit me. I was like, wait, that does, because we got to see that body cam. I gotta find that body cam. Oh my god, Zeke's driving me nuts. They have body cam now. You can't see much, but I'll find it here in a minute. Okay, so my god, Zeke, come on. Eventually stabilized to the ground. Okay. She was escorted to the shower. Another initial medical assessment was offered and refused. Schabusiness was placed into control separation. McLean attempted to ask Schabusiness why she assaulted staff, but she refused to answer and began to yell and swear at him. Staff were debriefed. Sergeant Keener was relieved and went to seek outside medical attention and later completed DOA. Blank declined outside medical, but did not complete the DOA. Conduct report and security restrictions were issued for inmate Schabusiness. Assault was entered into the assault database. Police department was notified. I gotta find that body cam. I did it. I did a video of it alive when it came out, but I could just play my old part of my old live, I guess. But hold on. Let's see if I just type it in, I can just find it real quick, maybe. No.
What is that in your ears?
Hold on, that's just a short. Dang it, I'm just tempted to go back to mine. Hold on, let me put it in my earphones. You guys want to watch it? Since we're talking about it. Let me see what this one is. It might just be easier to just play this short than go and play. Why did they have, so this fox has like writing all over top of it, which is making me really mad. Hold on. Oh my God, no. I'm trying to freaking. Sorry, guys. Let me pull this up. Hold on. I'm going to reshare it and then. I'm going to play mine. Hold on. Because I know I played it and it didn't have all this writing over top of it. I don't remember that. I think it's going to be easier just to play the video where I played it, to be honest. Sorry, guys. Unless you guys don't want to see it, but I figure we might as well watch what I'm talking about, right? Okay. I found my playlist. Yes, I found it. Okay. All right. So let me reshare my screen because my audio, my AirPods, my I hate it. I know it redoes it. Okay. So I'm going to play my old video really quick. And this is the incident I'm pretty sure that we were just going over, which is crazy. Shoot, everything's backwards. So I'm trying to work backwards. Okay. Let me find the part. So they play it in court. And then the person zooms in the camera in court because she was charged for it. Hold on. Okay, here we go.
You're in the bathroom. I'm in the bathroom. Oh, you're not? What is that in your ears? What is it? I'm telling you, I will give this woman credit. She is very creative. Very creative, for sure. Stop resisting! Stop! Stop resisting! No! Yes, no! Spray her! Spray her! Spray! What's in the play? North Room! Between RHO! Stop! Stop resisting! The other way.
Okay, that's that. Oh my God, Zeke is driving me nuts. I got to see what the heck my mom's doing. That he's barking. Hold on, it's going to be so annoying if we're trying to read and he's barking the whole time. Because if she's outside doing something, no, I don't hear. Maybe he's. Here, let me get down to where. So we just read that. Let me take these out because I'll be screaming. I have the what do I call it? Where it blocks out everything. Okay. Oh, this is the same one again, but let's read, see what. That's the only thing that's annoying, how many different. Okay, July 24th, 2:35. I was leaving wing 2 and heading to wing 1 when blank came out from around the corner of the blank screaming, help, help, while I also heard a pan hit the floor. I rushed and got to Med Health and saw Sergeant Keener and inmate Schabusiness pushing each other, and a second later, Keener pushed and got past PIOC Schabusiness, which is when I got the command from Sergeant Keener to spray Schabusiness. I removed my OC pepper spray and gave the command spray, along with Chavez spraying for a 1-second burst to the target area. Success. Wait, target area success. I stopped so I could get a better view of her face, and I began to spray hitting the eyes targeted area of Schabusiness. Rays and Gundrams showed up as a part of the team responders. I removed myself from the area to retrieve leg restraints. I grabbed the leg restraints and handed them to CO Schmidt. And at this time, Captain Rodriguez and McLean Smith arrived on scene and placed leg restraints, escorting her to the shower. Okay. It's just the same one again. On the above date and time, Mudrack was working my post in blank inside the control bubble. Inmate Schabusiness Taylor hit her call button. Oh, this is a new one, right? Okay. She hit her call button and stated that she blank. It's redacted. It says Med Health info. Okay. I reported this to Sergeant Keener, and she went to cell 103 and seen that she did blank. Inmate Schabusiness was escorted to. Yep, I guess it is the same one. But we see the beginning of it then where she hit the call button because there was something, was there a cut on her hand or something? It says it in the charging incident report document thing. That she was getting something done at Med Health. I forget, some kind of cut or something they were doing on her hand, right? Or a burn or something. Anyway, inmate Schabusiness was escorted to blank. Short time later, 1 to 2 minutes, I heard a loud noise and I seen blank running around the corner down the hall yelling for help. I asked her what was happening and she could only say in a panicked voice, she needs help back there now. I called control center by radio and requested for responders to report to the blank for a disruptive inmate. As responders were reporting to the unit, I had begun closing the day room to secure the unit, and I handed out 2 sets of unit keys to MS Henning and MS Frida. They offered to help with locking inmates in their rooms. A short time later, I observed several staff members escorting Schabusiness from the Med Health to the shower area and was given a shower to wash off the OC spray. Once she was done, she was given a clean ripped gown and escorted to RHU. It's crazy because she has so many incidents. People are probably nervous like dealing with her because she has, dude, she don't care. She will attack you. I mean, can you imagine? I'd be kind of scared. I mean, I don't know. Like I'd be nervous handling her. Would you guys? And that's the thing. If she gets an upper hand on you and she's attacking you, I wouldn't put it past her to kill you. If she had an opportunity and a weapon or something, I think she would do it in a second. She don't care. She just wants whatever, cause as much craziness as possible. So if you're not able to get her restrained and secure, and she grabs like something sharp or something, like I think she would try to do whatever she can and hurt you. Scary. That's scary. Do you guys agree on that? Okay. Same thing. Oh my god, how many pages of the same thing? I didn't realize there were so many when I was going through it. I think I skipped through some of them because so July 24th, I heard a team member respond to alert tone notified by control to respond. As a arrival, I observed inmate being stabilized on the floor. Okay. Yeah, this is the same. I'm not seeing anything else new that nope. All right. Please be something different. Come on. Same freaking thing. On the above day, I was working second shift. While working, I was sitting in the supervisor's office and a radio transmission came over the radio, control the first responder, body alarm, and blank. Okay. Once we entered, we went through the doors, went straight to the blank. Um, Captain McLean asked what happened, and Sergeant Cleaner said she attacked me. She was referring to Schabusiness. Took over the situation. So Captain McLean took over the situation. Keener then left the area. Captain Rodriguez went towards the blank day room and told Chavez to shut the day rooms down and get the inmates in their cells. I asked the blank control bubble for gas masks to provide to staff just in case the OC was getting to them. I also was asking Sergeant Keener what happened and if she was okay. She informed me that the inmate was being seen by blank. Keener then informed me that she secured inmate business, and then she said she utilized her OC. Keener then said when she was fighting with her inmate business, then hit her in the head with the metal pan in the room. After she explained the situation to me, I made the decision to send her out to St. Agnes to have the medical assessment completed. I informed her a staff member would transport her there and stay until she is able to return back to the institution. I returned back to blank. I offered the gas mask to staff. At that time, Captain McLean had staff placing leg restraints on and assisting Schabusiness up to her feet and escort her out of the area. She was placed in the shower. McLean checked on staff to make sure everybody was okay. After the shower was completed, she was given a gown. Keener and blank were given employee workplace injury or illness report. I don't think this whole document's just that. I don't remember because there's 3 different documents. I don't remember this whole all being just that incident, but what the heck? Why am I getting really annoyed that it's the same thing over and over? I don't know why this annoys me. I don't remember this many. Wow. Um, I don't know. I don't think there's anything. This person said it was I remember it being very hard to breathe. The spray was very thick and the very small blank, that the situation happened in. Yeah, nothing more than that. Oh my God, guys, I'm gonna lose it. Same one again. So it says Schabusiness, who was at this time kneeling on the floor, hiding her face in a fetal position. Huh. So when they asked Sergeant Keener what she needed at the time, she gestured to inmate Schabusiness. Um, so it says in our Schabusiness attempted to get up several times, also tried to pull her legs under her. Um, Inmate Schabusiness was then assisted in the seated position and then standing position. Okay. All right. Sorry, guys. I do not remember it being this many pages of that for some reason. I really don't. Wow. I must have just been skimming and really quick. I mean, I must have been paging down. I definitely didn't read all of these. Um, I'm trying to just skim through to see if there's anything new, but it's pretty. This one's doesn't look like I'm picking out anything. Anything new in this? No. Nope. Okay. This can't be all. So we got a redacted. All redacted. More redacted. So it looks like oh, I think is this a different incident that's just redacted maybe? I mean it's dated 8/28. Redacted. Oh, thanks. Thanks. Could be something different. You're redacting it. Gosh darn it. Uh, all right, what's this? Oh, this is a different one. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, right. Okay, so this is a different one, guys. While doing rounds in RHU, I noticed what appeared to be a pretty new tattoo on inmate Schabusiness's left hand. It is very red and appears to be swollen, and it says 500. I asked her how recent her tattoo is, and she said, I've been working on it a while. I asked her if she wanted to see HSU for it, and she said, blank. I asked her what she is using to do that, and she said, stuff, man. And then she proceeded to tell me that she has been sanitizing her hand with salt because that's all she got. That's all she's got. I asked her what 500 meant, and she said, it's my shit, you know? Well, she's crazy. And then pictures were not taken of this tattoo, with it being third shift and no staff available to take her out. Schabusiness is blank. I filled out DOC 1481. The following day, Schabusiness's cell was searched because Schabusiness went into blank. So it's my shit, you know. Yep, 500. And can you imagine how bad that hurt? She's been sanitizing her hand with salt. I want to know what she's given her tattoo with. Wonder what she's got. Wonder if it's that sharp fence piece that you'll see she gets. She steals pieces of the fence a couple times, caught with like pieces of the fence. And I think there's an incident where she attacks the officer with a sharp metal object. So I'm thinking it's the metal fence piece, but like I've skimmed it so fast, so maybe it does explain it better and I just missed it. Because I didn't thoroughly read through it because I was waiting to just read it with you guys. Yeah, Frankenmoss, she is. Gemini. I know. Gemini, she's just too much. Okay. Supervisor comments. Informational. Written for documentation purposes of a new identifying marks. Photographs not taken at this time. Cell was later searched for contraband. Recommended forward to RHU supervision to have staff photograph new identifying mark and follow up regarding the importance of photograph cell searches with unit staff. Officer observed what appeared to be a new tattoo on inmate Schabusiness. The new tattoo, it appeared to be red and swollen. The tattoo was 500. Inmate Schabusiness stated she had been using stuff in her cell to do the tattoo. Schabusiness blank, forward to blank, unit supervisors. Okay. 10/18/24. I was working my assigned post while handing out shower rolls and shower supplies at approximately 6:21. I was informed by Officer Mickelson that inmate Schabusiness blank. Please note, I was lead cart handing out shower rolls. My responsibility as lead cart is to place the shower roll, shampoo, and Vaseline on the open food port for the inmate to collect. While the inmate collected the item, I didn't notice anything concerning about the inmate's behavior or body. Once I left the cell front, given the inmate's history, I remained vigilant while Officer Mickelson was handing the inmate a towel roll. Based on Officer Mickelson's body language, I felt he may have observed something of concern. Once he left the cell front, Officer Mickelson asked me quietly if observed what he saw. So if I observed what he saw. Once the food port closed, I reported to the cell front to observe what he saw. Per observation, inmate Schabusiness was sitting on their bunk facing the cell door, and the crazy thing is they don't say what she was doing. There's hints. I still, like, a part of me was wondering if she was pleasuring herself or something, but then I don't know. Let's read this and you guys tell me what you think, because there's little things, but they always, every report redacts the main part of what she was doing. So I don't know what the heck she was doing, but maybe I missed something and it does give us a better clue when because like I said, I was reading this stuff so fast. At this time, I verbalized with the inmate asking them what they were doing. Surprised, the inmate stopped their action and dropped the unknown item. While verbalizing with the inmate to come to the cell front to be placed in restraints and removed from the cell, the inmate refused my directives by repeatedly stating, "Nah, man, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need anything." Because of this, I radioed for a supervisor and Officer Geidel to respond to the unit. At this time, with the inmate standing in the middle of the cell, I decided to remove my Saber Red Mark 3 OC, the spray, from its case and open the trap in case of OC deployment. Because the inmates still didn't have any objects in their hands, I decided to continue to verbalize with the inmate to avoid deploying my OC. The inmate then walked over to the sink in their cell and turned their back away from me. Because I couldn't observe what the inmate was doing near the sink, I decided to deploy a 1-second burst of OC into the wall nearest the inmate's face. Due to the OC deployment, the inmate reacted by shielding themselves away from the stream of OC. Per my observation, the inmate had a washcloth in their hands and shuffled toward the med health on the floor. At this time, I observed the inmate begin to clean the blank and continue to ignore my directives to come to the door to allow for the application of restraints. What did she have? I don't know. And they also even go on to say, like, she was cleaning, like, she was basically, by washing whatever she was, it was like cleaning evidence, where like she was covering up some kind of evidence. What was she doing? Do you think working on the tat? Because if she was working on the tat, then why wouldn't they know? They would know what the object that she used for the tattoo, right? Because when they asked her, they act like they don't know how she did it, though. But maybe it might have been. But then she would have seen the object that she was using for the tattoo. They seen something drop. I mean, but they just, I don't know. It's weird. Because of the inmate's passive resistance and the destruction of evidence, I deployed a second burst of OC into the cell. The stream of OC hit the inmate's neck and arm. Please note, again, I cannot get a clear line of sight for proper OC deployment to the inmate's face and eyes. At this time, Captain Rodriguez arrived at the cell front and began verbalizing with the inmate. After a few minutes of verbalizing, Captain Rodriguez directed Officer Geidel and Officer Giesland to converse with the inmate. As well, maybe. After a short time, the inmate complied with the application of handcuffs and a tether, which were completed by Officer Dawald, who applied the restraints, and Officer Gielan and Giedel, who secured the inmate's hands. Well, I guess if this was after, that would make sense. So, okay. So if they saw her, the 500 tattoo, right? First, and they don't know how she got it. Oh, it's my stuff. And then this was probably after. So it probably was a tattoo. So then they go past her and they see her, what they think that she's doing, her tattoo. So this would be after it anyway. So yeah, that could be. I bet you that is what it is. Your guys are probably right. So where are we at? So they secured her hands, some redacted stuff to the inmate. At approximately 6:30, the cell door was opened and the inmate was assisted to their knees to allow for the application of leg restraints. Once leg restraints were secure, the inmate was assisted back to their feet and escorted to the blank shower for decontamination. After this point, due to my involvement, I decided to remove myself from the incident to prevent any further agitation or noncompliance. At 7:20, the inmate was secured into blank without further incident. Photographic evidence along with a cell search was conducted, which resulted in the following contraband: a piece of a spork, a small piece of what resembles a twist tie, and a red washcloth, which was used to clean up the blank on the floor. It was later confirmed that staffing error provided the inmate with a spork despite the inmate being on blank. So yeah, she was probably doing the tattoo with it. I could see, the twisty tie has that metal sharp piece in there. Now spork is plastic. I mean, I guess you could try to use a spork, but you wouldn't think they would give them twisty ties with the metal piece. You know what I'm talking about? How like you could rip back the paper on it and there's that metal. You wouldn't think they'd give prisoners that, because that could definitely be a metal weapon. If you get a bunch of those, especially, and like twist them together, it's a piece of freaking metal. But I could see tattoos. Okay. That's probably what it was. And to clean up the blood, it was probably blood that she cleaned it up on the floor. Because there's another one where they say she wiped something on the floor, like wiped off. So yeah, you guys are right. It's probably they caught her doing her tattoo. October 18th, I was working rounds during the shift. Officer Mickelson and myself were distributing shower cleaning supplies. Prior to us going around to the unit to distribute supplies, Colin made it clear that inmate Schabusiness doesn't receive cleaning supplies because she misuses the items. Oh my God. So she doesn't get any because she misuses the items. It was approximately 6:21 that we were distributing supplies on Blue Block, which is where cell 634 is, and where inmate Schabusiness currently was residing. Well, I haven't heard our phone ring in a while. Oh, let me take this down too. That's the landline. That's weird. Where am I at? As I trailed behind the sergeant and Officer Mickelson, as I happened to be one distributing the cleaning supplies, which is why Officer Mickelson closed the trap of inmate Schabusiness before I approached it. However, when he was doing that, I noticed he hesitated and took a second look into her cell as he was closing her trap door. Officer Mickelson walked over to the sergeant and whispered to him that he thought he saw blank in her floor. Sergeant Colin returned back to cell 634 of inmate Schabusiness and gave her a directive to show him her blank, and she didn't want to comply. And instead, she went to the sink and tried to wash her blank and seemingly attempted to hide the evidence. After being given the directive to come to the door and put her hands out the trap, she continued to refuse to comply with the directives. Sergeant Colin radioed for his supervisor and patrol 50 to report to cell 634. Inmate Schabusiness, and in the process informed them that if she didn't comply, he will utilize OC spray, much like how he already previously warned her. Moments later, Schabusiness had her back turned to him at the sink as she continued to refuse to comply and show him what was in her hands, ultimately forcing the sergeant to the need to deploy the OC spray. With her back towards him, he tried to ricochet the OC spray off the wall in hopes to get the needed effect to inmate Schabusiness so she would stop what she was doing. Schabusiness ended up backing up a little bit from the spray, however, it clearly not having maximum impact due to her back being turned to him. Even then, she was continuing to do what appeared to be like she was hiding the evidence or potentially continuing with whatever she was blank, requiring Sergeant Collin to administer a second round of the OC spray. At this point, Officer Geidel and Officer Giesland appeared on the scene along with Captain Rodriguez, and they were unable to get her to initially comply with his directives. They continued to talk to her, see if they could get her to agree to comply. They talked with inmate Schabusiness, got ASP pads that were given to Officer Mickelson and I in case we had to make an emergency cell entry, as well brought gas masks for those of us. For those of us cell side that wanted them after the deployment of the OC spray, upon his return, I believe is when he was able to begin documenting the scene with a video recorder. After some time talking with her officers, Guido and Giesland were able to get her to agree to comply with coming to the door and placing her hands out the trap. They had an arm, and as I placed the cuffs onto Schabusiness behind her back, while doing this, Officer Guido assisted me with placing the tether on her as well. We then had her cell opened, and I placed Schabusiness in leg restraints. Giesland and Guido escorted her to the shower. They removed the restraints, tether. Okay, they instructed her to rinse off. It took her a while before she was willing to rinse off, which during this time, Sergeant Guido remained a consistent presence outside the shower area while continuing to record the scene from an appropriate vantage point. They searched her cell for what Schabusiness was using, blank, and retrieved any other evidence possible, which she documented all of her findings. After she completed the shower, she was dressed in her rip gown. They reapplied the constraints, placed her in the cell. To ensure nothing was overlooked in her cell, as well as to make sure it had a blank. Once in cell, Schabusiness refused the blank, that she was then removed from the cell. Shortly later, we all returned to the property room where Captain Rodriguez did a debrief on camera as well as did a staff wellness check. About an hour later, after conducting blank, I returned to blank with Sergeant Collin, where we asked again, make Schabusiness if we could take a picture of blank to document it via pictures, to which she agreed to, placing blank out the trap without further incident. Okay. She is difficult. Oh my Lord, she's difficult. Okay, so this is the same thing I'm going to kind of skip here. But that's definitely what it is, the tattoo. You guys were right. All right, I'm going to skip this. It's the same thing. There's nothing really new in that. Let's see. Same freaking thing. Yeah, this doesn't look like there's really anything new in this either. No. Something else though. I don't even, it's like she has nothing to lose type attitude. But it sucks because it shouldn't be. I mean, if you're a good person, you have a conscience, it doesn't matter if you have nothing to lose. You like to hurt somebody else that's on your conscience. I mean, shouldn't even, how could you want to do that? Even if you don't have nothing to lose, but she doesn't care. You can tell she does not care. Mentally, there's something not okay with her mentally. I'm not giving her an excuse at all, but obviously there's something not right up there in her brain. Um, but I do, and I've said this in multiple videos. I do think part of it is a show, but not all of it, because what she does, I mean, she's crazy. She does crazy things. So I think part of it is the attention thing, and it's this big like show that she puts on and act in a way, but not completely. Does that make sense? Like it is, but it isn't. It's somewhat an act, but it's somewhat like her brain is crazy. I'm telling you. But you could tell some of it is an act because like, she gave that one smirk. Do you remember I pointed that out on her hearing right before one of her attacks? I don't even remember which one. She looks at the camera, so she's aware where the camera was. It was off to the right, and she does this, like, little smirk, and then she I think it was the one where she yelled, and we thought she yelled WrestleMania, but she she yelled, it was her gang. I forget now what it was, but that's what she gets a kick out of it. That's the thing. But obviously she's not right either. So it's just a mix. It's a mix with her. Um, all right, let's see. What is it? ASP pad. Let me look that up because I learned something new with every case. I learned the OC spray. Let's see what ASP is. ASP pad. Um, wait, is that what it was called? I retrieved the ASP pads in cases of emergency. Um, I'll look it up some other time because I'm getting weird answers. It's not even I'm not getting the right stuff. ASP. I mean, is it just a pad? Oh, I guess it's just a pad you put on the floor if you need to kneel down or something. Or there's absorbent adhesive sanitary pads. But this is coming up too. Look, right here. Right here. So I bet you it's this because the way to describe it, they said if they need to go in, maybe in order to put their knees on the ground or something so they could, or put her or something, or to protect them, maybe they could hold it up and protect if she's, I mean, what do you think? Something like that? Okay. Shoot. Okay. Let's, yeah, shield. It does look like a shield. That one looked like a shield that you go like that. Well, 500 was the, pay attention. I wasn't looking at chat. Sometimes when I have other screens up, I can't always be looking at chat, silly. But I figured it out by the picture. But no, 500 was what she texted. I mean, it was gang related, but I don't think that's what she yelled. She yelled, the one guy that talks to her, the collector, he had told us because we were trying to figure it out one day. This is probably what, 5, 6 months ago, 7, 8 months ago. I don't know when I covered it. It wasn't the last time I covered it. It was probably like like maybe 4 times ago or something. There was some update I covered, and he came in because we were trying to figure it out. But then when I came back with the next update of her after that, he came in and he had talked to her, and he said, "This is what she yelled," and it was the name of her gang or something. So it wasn't 500. I mean, obviously 500 has something to do with her gang, but that's not what she yelled. Um, I forget. I could go back to that live stream and see what he said, and then I repeat it and tell you guys. Or I could just text him actually. Hold on, I could text him. I actually have his phone number. Um, yes, it was this, Alshane. That's what it was right there. That's what it was. Thank you. Good. I don't have to text him. Yep. Oh, Sane, you made it. I tried to message you because I knew this. Like, he needs to be here for this video. I'm glad you came. I was worried about you because nobody had heard from you. I was like, what the heck? Is he okay? Because I was asking Casey, like, have you heard from him? I'm going to do a Taylor Schabusiness video and I want him to be there. And she was saying how she hadn't either. I was like, man, I hope he's okay. So yeah, I waited. I think I texted you what, like last week or so. Okay, and I think I emailed you too. All right. He usually is for the Schabusiness videos. That's why I was making sure because he hadn't been here and I hadn't heard from him. So I just wanted to make sure you were here for this one. Okay, Gang Familia. Yep, thank you. Hey, Secret Forest. Cool, yay. No, I'm just glad you're okay because I was like, I hope he's okay. I wasn't even, it's like, would we even know if something happened? All right, so where are we at? Zeke, oh my God. I'm trying to wait for him to stop barking. He's been so annoying lately with my grandma being gone. Oh my God. The barking, it's just, he never used to be this bad. And just lately, he's just been barking so freaking much. And it's like nothing's out there. Well, you know how dogs are. They hear a little sound or think they freaking see something. Okay. I love him to death, but that part when he barks. Okay. Where are we at? So we're talking about the ASP pads. So they gave the ASP pads to officers who in turn handed them off to Dewald and Mickelson. Colin requested gas masks for staff. I returned to the property room to retrieve 4 gas masks to give to staff. Distributed the masks to the staff, left the wing to prepare the cell for Schabusiness to be placed into. During the time, West arrived from blank to assist on unit blank or unit and prepare the shower so staff could offer a decontamination shower to the inmate. They retrieved the camera and began recording the situation. During this time, Schabusiness was placed into the shower and was informed that she was going to be placed into blank. She initially refused the decontamination shower and to wear the gown. Captain Rodriguez was present during the blank and he informed the inmate that a staff assisted strip search would be conducted and she would be placed into a cell wearing the gown. Guido was able to gain compliance through verbalization and the inmate utilized the time to conduct the decontamination shower. The camera was turned off at this time and resumed recording once Guido and Gislin began to place the inmate back into restraints. Schabusiness was deemed too large and was swapped out for a gown. So the original gown was too small. I was wondering, I'm glad that they confirmed that they said that they turned it off during the shower because when they mentioned it on the other one too, because they were talking about putting her in the shower and they were recording it, I was thinking that I was going to just say it after this one, reading it again, like that's messed up. They're recording when she showers. But I'm glad to read that they said they turned it off for it because I was about to be a little weirded out about that. Like, what? They're not even letting her shower without recording her, but they said they turned it off. Okay. Let's see. Same freaking day. So let me. Oh, oh my lordy. I can't handle it. He's so annoying me. Is this a different one? Wait, this might be a different one. I'll read this. I can't. On the above date and time, Captain Rodriguez was sitting in the supervisor office and heard radio transmission from Sergeant Collins stating, "I need a supervisor for an inmate." I responded to the radio transmission stating 16 copies. While I was reporting to RHU, Sergeant Collins informed staff that the OC, oh, there we go. It says it when I had to look it up, but look, if I would have waited, well, I'm glad I didn't wait, so I understood what it was. I mean, I understood it was spray, but what exactly the OC standed for. But yep, that's what it said when I Googled it too. Anyway, it was deployed and that they were located in the green block. After arriving, I went to green block 634, observed Sergeant Colleen at the cell trying to get inmate Schabusiness coming to the door and be placed in handcuffs. I looked in the cell and saw inmate cleaning the ground with a towel. So that's a new little detail. I had said it, but we hadn't seen it. You guys didn't see it in the report yet, but there you go. Cleaning the ground up with a towel. And I began to a dialogue with inmate Schabusiness, asking her to come out of the cell to be placed in handcuffs. She stated, "No, I'm good." He was seeing things. Oh, so she's saying, "No, I'm good." Basically accusing him, "Oh, you're seeing things." Hummer and referring to Sergeant Collin. I directed her to come to the front of the cell to be placed in handcuffs. She refused my directives. And at this time, I stepped to the side, and Officer Gielan and Guido began a dialogue with inmate Schabusiness. After a few minutes of dialogue, inmate Schabusiness came to the door and placed her hands out of the trap. Officer applied the restraints to the hands. The cell door opened and she walked out. Schabusiness was escorted to the shower. They let it be known that this is when the handheld camera began recording. So the escort to the shower, they were recording it. Inmate Schabusiness was refusing to take a shower and did not want to comply with any directives. I started a dialogue with Schabusiness and informed her that she will be going in to blank and need to comply with staff directives. Schabusiness complied with directives. So she started the shower. She received a decontamination shower and a clean gown, and she was placed in a tether. Okay. She would not. No staff injuries were reported, and blank, blank, blank was offered. An inmate Schabusiness would not let us take photos of blank. She would only show her other hand, so she wouldn't let him take photos of her tattoo. Wow. But wait, why do they even give her a choice? That shouldn't even be a choice. If they want a picture of her hand, they have her restrained. Why couldn't they? They have to get permission to take a picture of her hand? Because I mean, they have her restrained. She wouldn't have an option. They just get her hand and take a picture. That confuses me right there. I don't think they would need permission. That's kind of weird. Because I mean, when she's restrained, yeah, you just take a freaking picture, right? Okay. Now, is this still the same one? I'm getting so yeah, they're all gonna be like that. I just didn't remember it being that many doubles. I mean, not doubles, but the same thing. Um, yeah, this is just telling about how they restrained her. Okay. On December 31st, 2024, Officer Cleveland was working my assigned post, or I, Officer Cleveland. During tray pass, I came across a plastic bag twisted with a white powdery substance in front of cell 634, which houses inmate Schabusiness. Sergeant Collin was notified. The bag was sent up to supervisor's office where it was tested with a mobile detect and everything came back negative. It ends up being sugar. But here, okay, question. When they say outside of the cell, does that mean it was like outside of the bars and she like placed it outside? I mean, outside the cell in the front? I'm trying to picture that because if that's the case, then she probably purposely is getting a kick out of it because she probably did it wanting them to think, look, drugs. And as she laughs as they go and test it, and it's sugar or something. I don't know. I could see her just doing it for her own entertainment. Um, you know? Informational inmate had a baggie found in front of cell door. Bag had powder in it. Powder tested via detectachim test came back negative. Powder appeared to be potentially sugar. Photos taken and placed in evidence. Oh my god. Wait, what are you saying, Gemini? This chick could eat it? Face? How would you do this job? Wait, can you repeat what you're saying? This chick could eat, are you saying eat a face? I think she did this to just mess with them. Oh my god. But here's the thing though. She's in a secure where she can't like reach out in front of her cell and lay anything. It's not like a cell like that, is it? Wait. No, you know what it'd be. Never mind. Because they usually have, I don't know how it is. Some of them have the bars and then you put your hands out, but some isn't some. No, they all would be that way so they could see in really good, I bet. Yeah. So she probably could just, I'm just wondering if would she be able to reach out and like put the sugar out there in front then? Because it doesn't, unless you just put it like in front, like inside her cell and they're able to get it out. But either way, that was totally to mess with him. I know it. I freaking know it. That's what I'm saying. A part of her, she does it for her own entertainment, but obviously there's something not right with her in her head either. So, okay, so now we're moving on from this batch says January 1st, 2025 to June 1st, 2025. Okay, let's see. Okay, on 2/3, so February 3rd, 2025, Zawicki was assisting RHU. Schabusiness was being brought back from an attorney visit. CO Schmidt and I were escorting her back to her cell. We observed that, redacted, this was discussed during reviews on 1/30/2025 with Captain Rodriguez. A bunch more redacted. Looks like a whole line, and then a whole line, and then so basically 2 full lines was redacted on this part, and then up here, another 2 full lines. Anyway, Schabusiness had previously refused medical attention when asked if she wanted blank. Another, let's see, 1, 2, like 2.5 lines redacted. Schabusiness was brought back to her cell with nothing further to report. Photos were taken of the wounds and sent as evidence. Wounds. Let me make this bigger. Sorry. That's interesting. I wish that wasn't. So she was coming back from an attorney's visit and she had wounds on her or something? I can make that one more bigger. Yep. Cool. Okay. Let's see. Here's a comment. Informational written documentation purposes. So redacted, and it says during the attorney visit. So something during the attorney visit, and then redacted, photos taken and cataloged appropriately. And then it says Officer Zawicki was escorting inmate Schabusiness and observed that she blank. Photographs were taken, forward to blank supervisors. So somehow she had injuries on her, which is kind of interesting that she had him like coming back from her attorney visit. What the heck happened? On the above date and time, got like almost paragraph redacted. This information was discussed with security supervisor Captain Lambrecht and on duty, and then redacted, and then it says and on duty RHU staff. Look, all this redacted, and then Captain LeBrant notified. Okay. Okay. On the above date and time, Driscoll was working in RHU in post 141. I was conducting an inventory check and found that I was missing several items. And after checking everywhere, was able to find everything but 1 tether and 1 nail clippers. Blank staff also called and said we should have one of their tethers as well. Wait, hold on. What is that? Let me read that again. Blank staff also called and said that we should have one of their tethers as well. I did mention the missing items to Captain Gilbert during his rounds check, and told him I would keep looking. It wasn't until the 5 a.m. security round that I noticed a tether going into cell blank, which currently in use by Schabusiness was currently in use by Schabusiness. I admit I overlooked it despite all the round checks conducted. Schabusiness had been asleep for all the rounds on third shift, and when I opened the trap, I pulled out 2 tethers and the missing nail clippers. I then notified Captain Gilbert and that I had found the missing equipment and told them where I found them. I also called the blank unit and told Sergeant Larson that I had missing tether. That I had his missing tether. I do know that second shift was extremely busy with multiple emergency situations that needed to be addressed that day. So I'm a little bit confused though. So she obviously stole them, right? But he said he found them in the missing trap. Where would that be? Hold on, let me look at this again. When I opened the trap, I pulled out 2 tethers. What does that mean? So, I mean, she took them, right? Legally, or they just left them in there and never got them back out? I'm a little bit confused here. They wouldn't let her keep nail clippers, but it's like the fact where he said something about one of the tethers was going into her room. So did somebody bring it in and they just never took it back out? Was she at fault of this or something? Because I'm trying to missing or wait, hold on. How did they word that? I want to see a picture of whatever they're talking about trap, just so I can understand how it's set up. Hold on. I open the trap. So I'll put okay. Inmate. No, it's not bringing up the right thing. I don't know. I mean, I think she probably took it, right? But what I'm saying is if he was just able to open the trap and find him, wouldn't she have had him hidden somewhere or something? Or did he go through her stuff? Oh, it's a part of the sink. So she was hiding him then, huh? Is the door a wire coming out the place where it swings back and forth? The trap is the door a wire? But where the tether and the nail clips were just laying there, you know what I'm saying? That's what makes me think if she intentionally took them, she would have hid them somewhere. They wouldn't just be laying out. That's what I'm trying to picture where he says, I opened the trap, they're right there. Is he saying they were just laying right there? Or was she hide them in the sink? Because you're saying trap is a part of the sink, but Gemini is saying something else. So anyway, let's see if we're gonna get about 20 other 20 other readings of this. So they'll probably explain it better in the next one. Let's see. Okay, let's see here. At 4:28 at approximately 4, Driscoll could not find a missing tether or nail clipper, which he reported to Captain Gilbert. At 5, while completing a round, he observed a tether connected to cell blank, and it was inside inmate Schabusiness's cell. Driscoll opened the cell trap, and while inmate Schabusiness appeared asleep and removed tether, and on the end was the missing nail clippers. But I mean, why would she just have them right there? You think she would have hid it so they couldn't find it. That's why I'm a little bit confused so maybe they just accidentally left them in her cell and never took them back. Do you guys see what I'm talking about? I want to know if she like intentionally stole them or not. Yeah, Gemini, I don't know. It sounds like it might be the door that they just opened the door and then the tether and the nail clippers were on the end. But like I said, it makes me think it was just a jail mistake that they left the tether in there and forgot to take it out. And for some reason, maybe they give nail clippers on the end of the tether or something, so they don't take the nail clippers. I don't know. I can't say I'm an expert in jail stuff. I do learn something new with every case. I'm learning new things, but I'm not ever claiming to be an expert on it. I learn as I go. And I learned flooding. I learned that term on the last incident reports. I learned what flooding was, which I never knew. So that was interesting. Okay, so toenail clippers. So here we go. Sergeant Stickford was on duty while conducting a TLU property pack up for inmate Dickinson. So this, because it sounds like from what I read earlier a few days ago, she was rooming with her or whatever. It was her cellmate, I think. So I found the following contraband items: toenail clippers, extra gym shorts, one listed on property, in possession of two. So they only had one listed, but she had two of them. And this is this Dickinson. One extra tank top, three pencils not listed on property, one eraser not listed, one hobby item, a ring. Finished hobby item also does not have hobby. One letter from Schabusiness contains threats. Letters contains pitchforks, pot leaves drawn, blunts drawn. All items listed above were confiscated and sent to the security suite as contraband. Maybe I didn't understand it. Maybe she isn't a roommate. I swear I read something where she was with her at one point or something. Let me see here. I think I was reading some of these when I was half falling asleep. I've been falling asleep at my desk a lot this week for some reason. I don't know why. I have like those moments like the epilepsy, not epilepsy, narcolepsy. It's like it comes in waves where sometimes I could go and I'm good. And then this week, oh my Lord, I cannot stay awake for the life of me at my desk. Oh, anyway, on the above date and approximate time while working on the restricted housing unit, Froond, along with Collier, had went to the RHU annex outside recreation cages to bring inmates back inside from recreation. It should be noted that Schabusiness Taylor is blank. Schabusiness was directed to place both hands out the trap behind her back, at which time I secured a tether and handcuffs on her wrists while she faced the back of the cell. After the restraints were secure, we then opened the rec cell, at which time inmate Schabusiness was assisted to a kneeling position and then secured the ankle restraints on her ankles. I first placed the right ankle restraint on and then the left. While I was double locking the ankle restraints, I took notice to the fact that there was a piece of metal protruding from what appeared to be a hole in her left pant leg. While she continued to face away from us, I slid the piece of metal out from her pant leg without a word to her and handed what appeared to be a single long piece of metal fencing, approximately 6 to 8 inches in length, to C.O. Collier to secure on his person. It should be noted that the piece of metal appeared to be from the outside rec cage chain link fence. We then proceeded to assist Schabusiness to a standing position and proceeded to escort her into the RHU. During this time, I radioed to Sergeant Gibbert to report and meet us at the intake for assistance. Once we met up with Sergeant Gibbert in the intake area, I informed Gibbert that in the RHU, we then proceeded to escort Schabusiness to the RHU intake cells. While we were in the intake Sally port, and while Schabusiness was still facing away from us, Collier inconspicuously showed Sergeant Gilbert, I swear that should be Gilbert, it was Sergeant Gilbert, the piece of contraband he had secured on his person. Sergeant Gilbert then took over escorting Schabusiness with me out to the intake area, while Collier brought the contraband into the unit where he secured it into the RHU control bubble. While out in the intake area, we secured Schabusiness with a tether to the intake door, and I explained to her that we would need to conduct a strip search due to the fact that she'd had contraband. She then made a comment, something to the effect of, yeah, you got to get my lucky pants. Yeah, you gotta get my lucky pants. After removing the ankle restraints and securing the intake cell, I removed the handcuffs and tether. Sergeant Gibbert then stood off to the side where she could observe me and record me while I conducted the strip search. Aside from having an extra pair of pants, which were confiscated, no other contraband was found. I inquired about the piece of metal which had been found on Schabusiness's person, to which she claimed that she had not removed it, but instead found it in the wreck cage. Following the strip search and speaking with her about the contraband, we then brought her back into the unit and secured her back in her cell without further incident. Sergeant Gibbert then notified Captain Miller about the contraband, who requested that the metal piece be brought to the supervisor's office. Collier, who had been assisting on the unit as a patrol, took the metal piece to the supervisor's office. Collier then, furthermore, had later assisted by searching the wreck cage that Schabusiness had been in, which was the fifth wreck cage in from west to east in the first set of the 10 cages. While searching the cage, he did observe and take photos where it appears that there's a gap in the bottom of the fencing on the side to the right of the emergency call button. The photographs were then forwarded to the supervisors for review. Captain Miller was then notified of the approximate time frame from which Schabusiness had been in the wreck cage, approximately from between 9:15 to 11:15 a.m., for further review of the camera footage during this time in the outside wreck area. So here's a comment from the supervisor. It says, inmate being escorted back from recreational, inmate blank during application of leg restraints. Large sharpened metal weapon shank located. Shank was secured by staff. Inmate escorted in restraints to RHU intake. Strip search conducted yielding minor contraband conduct report to be authored by Officer Fround. Rec pen was searched, damaged to fence located. Photos were taken. Video evidence preserved. Photos of shank captured. Rec pen was secured with chain and padlock. Work order submitted. Oh, this is a new one. Okay, let me take a sip of this. Lee, what's up, girl? Wow, we've been getting to see a lot of you lately because you were in the last live, right? Well, God, when was the last live? Over a week ago again? Oh my Lord, I need to get on a regular live schedule. My algorithms are so messed up. Okay. On Sunday, 6/1/1035, Sergeant Gilbert was working my assigned post, or I, Sergeant Gilbert, was working my assigned post as RHU. It was at this time that I was notified that inmate Wheeler, Nina, was flooding her cell, which we learned what flooding is. Here, let me because Schabusiness was doing it on the last reports. Let me bring it up because I'm not good at wording things sometimes. Let me remind myself of the different. Am I internet? Okay. Why is it bringing up videos? Hold on. Okay. So what they'll do, and Schabusiness, like I said, did it in the last incident reports. So they want to get out of their cell. They'll clog their toilet and flush it multiple times, and they'll flood their cell to try to get out of their cell. It's one way they get into the recreational area or move somewhere while someone has to clean their cell out. There was another thing they also do, which I learned when I was looking up flooding cell, is hold on one second. Let me see something real quick. Um, I'm trying to remember how they do it, but somehow oh, that's what it was. Okay. So another reason that sometimes they flood their cell is because that'll force them. A lot of the times, if they do it maybe repeatedly or whatever, they'll shut off the water in their cell. And then, if I'm remembering right, I talked about it in another video. So I think Don't quote me on this, but they turn off the water and then it enables them to communicate through the pipes, right? If there's no water or something, the water's all out of the toilet and the sewer system, they talk through the pipes or they pass things through the pipes if there's no water, right? Remember me looking that up? So that was another reason that sometimes the inmates flood it. So then the water gets turned off and they're able to pass things through the pipes or talk. You're able to talk better because the water, you can't talk through the water, but it enables the inmates to be able to talk through the pipes too, right? Yeah. So there's multiple reasons they do that. Jail life is so interesting. They have nothing but time to think of like figure out things and think of like ways to get different things and change the repetition of every day to get like a little bit of a change in it by doing something, you know? Anyway, so let's go back to Nina. So she was flooding her cell. Since I was dealing with another situation out by the rec cages and RHU was short staffed, I was unable to immediately notify a supervisor. In order to prevent inmate Wheeler from further flooding her cell and have other cells next to her get flooded, I radioed for staff member to come over from blank to turn the water supply off. The water was turned off at 10:41 a.m. I was in the annex with CO friend with inmate Wilson Harris Love. Whoa, that's a mouthful. Inmate Wilson Harris Love, Tiara. So her name's Tiara Wilson Harris Love. Wow. Anyway, who is a blank, who was blank, as neither one of us could leave to get a wheelchair. I grabbed a chair from one of the pods and had inmate Wilson Harris Love sit down. I radioed again for a staff member from blank to come bring a wheelchair back to us so we could safely transport her back to her cell to reduce her risk of falling and ensure her safety. After receiving the wheelchair, CO friend Coleman and myself transported her back over to RHU. And friend, I don't even know am I saying that right? Friend or something? I never seen that last name before. This one right here, friend, and myself ensure she safely got back into her cell. I talked to inmate Wilson Harris Love that she needed to notify me if blank. CO friend and Collier were attempting to get Rec back in. We're attempting to get Rec back in when I was notified that I needed to come to intake and switch out with CO Collier. As inmate Schabusiness, who was outside for Rec, had a piece of metal approximately 6 inches in length on her person that was broken off the Rec cages. CO friend and myself conducted a strip search, which yielded no further contraband. Inmate Schabusiness was escorted back to her cell safely. Upon securing the door, Collier radioed for me to report to the Rec cages and notified me of where all the missing pieces of metal had come from and that other places appeared to be tampered with. I radioed for a supervisor to come down to the Rec cages so it could be shown. Captain Miller arrived on unit, looked over the Rec cage, and directed that pictures be taken and piece of the metal be brought up to supervisor's office. It was after all of this that I was able to finally notify him about the incident with inmate Wheeler and that her water had been turned off. Due to all the incidents following inmate Wheeler's water being turned off, the lapse in time was almost to the 2-hour mark. As her behavior had improved, Captain Miller directed staff to turn her water back on. Her water was turned on at approximately 12:35 p.m. I went to walk in front of her cell blank and noticed that inmate Wheeler was smearing poop all over her window. Remember, supposedly Schabusiness did that too. She was smearing poop on something. I remember hearing it. I think the collector was telling us about that, but I don't remember ever reading an incident report explaining that. Was the last report? I don't think the last reports. Huh. Anyway, so Wheeler smearing poop on her window, scooping water into her container from lunch, and throwing it at the window. I turned her water back off and notified Captain Miller of what she was doing and that her behavior wasn't changing. I again approached her cell when she started yelling at me that she was throwing water at the cell windows to clean the poop off her cell. I said, if that was what you were doing, then I will turn the water back on. I turned the water back on and she continued to clean her cell. This incident took approximately less than 2 minutes. There was no further incident. Oh, okay. Supervisor comments. Let's see. Completed to document multiple incidents that were occurring at the same time. Um, in reference to the incident involving Wheeler, was demonstrating poor conduct with her water in her cell due to her water-related misconduct, which led to her cell flooding. Her water was shut off. After a brief period of time, her water was restored. Once her water was restored, the PIOC began what staff believed to be misconduct with her water again. At this time, staff turned her water off again and asked what she was doing. She stated she was attempting to clean the window of her cell. Once gaining clarification, they restored the water. Okay. In reference to the incident involving Schabusiness, Miller was alerted that when staff were escorting her back to her cell from recreation, that staff noticed a metal object that she attempted to conceal in her shoe. Staff removed the object from her shoe and escorted her to the intake for a strip search. She had any other contraband. The inmate complied and with this search and no other further contraband was found. She was then escorted back to her cell without incident. Okay. All right. I'm missing dinner. I forgot. Shoot. We probably ate at 5. My mom was making dinner. I don't know. I didn't think it was going to take me this long. There's all these repeats because I knew there was only so many reports, but I forgot how that first one had like what 20 different reports on the same incident. Oh my lord, that was really starting to get to me. Okay, on 6/15 Gundrum. So now we're this past June, 2025. Gundrum was working on second shift. Control radioed for Team 1 responder to go to Red Block in RHU. OC had been deployed. Once I arrived to 662 that houses inmate Schabusiness, I noticed Captain Rolls was directing her to come to the cell to have handcuffs placed on. I heard Schabusiness agree, and Officers Mullins began to open the trap. The tether was placed on. So yeah, the trap I think is the door, like the door. Is it for the hands maybe? Where they put their hands out? That probably, the way that they're describing the trap, it's the door. You were right, Gemini. It's not the sink. Anyway, the tether was placed on. I then placed handcuffs on left to right while Officer Mullis secured her hand and Office Coleman secured the right hand. I double locked the handcuffs. Mullins then keyed the cell door to be opened. Once Schabusiness was directed to go to a kneeling position, I then put the leg restraints on her. Schabusiness, oh wait, hold on. I then put leg restraints. I double locked them. Inmate Schabusiness was spitting multiple times and was directed to stop, but she continued. So I directed Captain Rawls to place a spit mask on. And Rawls, Captain Rawls, the verbalized what that I would be placing it on. Mullins and Coleman escorted Schabusiness to blank shower cell. Once the tether was placed, inmate Schabusiness was assisted to back to kneeling position for the process to be reversed. She was in a decontamination shower and escorted her back. So she was spitting. Remember, she had that spit mask on for one of the days of the trial, right? Or it was one of the hearings. She looks so funny with it. Oh my god. Okay, June 15th. So this is the same day. Montez was working on my assigned post. Schabusiness was pushing her intercom button and blank, so I quickly arrived at the cell where she is housed and conducted my wellness check. While peering into her cell window, I observed her standing in the middle of her room. Oh, this does sound like a different one. No, oh, the other one was the 5th, maybe? Anyway, so she puts her intercom. She pushes the intercom and then she's standing in the middle of her room. there's a couple lines redacted, and it says, I gave another directive and presented my OC spray. She ignored my verbal directives, so I deployed a 1-second burst from my OC canister. So wait, it starts out with her pushing the intercom, right? To get some help. So it was all a plan. She pushed it to go to cause some more trouble because it ends with her getting sprayed. Oh my God. I had deployed 1-second burst while given my verbal prompts. So there's redacted, and it says I radioed to control for responders and deployed another 1-second burst from OC canister. At roughly 3:27, Captain Rawls arrives on Red Block and immediately starts shouting verbal directives. There's some redacted stuff. It says, so he deploys a 1-second burst of OC spray from the Mark 9 canister. Then at approximately 3:28, Team 1 responders arrive on the scene, which consisted of Officer Gundrum, Coleman, and Schwartz at this time. Schabusiness is starting to comply and comes up to her cell trap door to be secured so that she can be removed from the cell. Once removed from her cell, she's offered a decontamination shower, which she accepts and completes. Then she is blank, and then is security stripped by Officer Schwartz, and then given a security smock. Oh my Lord, this girl. It was sentencing. That's why I was thinking it was some kind of hearing, because she wasn't in her she was in the orange, right? And the other day she had different clothes on, if I'm remembering right. But so it was sentencing. Okay, yeah. Those pictures, like that picture of her with that mask, it's just so funny because, oh, oh, Gemini. Hey, Delana, what's up? What's up? Kelly girl in the house. Who else? Tony. Who else we got in here? Alsane and Ashley, my mods. Did Casey ever make it? Analytical, Carter. Okay, let me continue here. So 6:15, this would be the same one. Let's see if it gives us any more details on that though. Mullins was working my assigned shift. Activated incident. While I was escorting Mosley in from recreation, Schabusiness made statements blank. Sergeant Montez walked on the block and asked her to check Schabusiness while I was taking Mosley to their cell. After I secured Mosley in their cell, I went to assist with the situation. Upon arriving to the cell front, Sergeant Montez was given directives to Schabusiness to blank. Montez unholstered their Mark III OC, opened the trap, and called. I then left to grab a Mark 9. Upon coming back, the trap was still open, but OC was not yet utilized. Blank, before spraying her with the Mark 3, Captain Rawls arrived with Team 1 responders. Captain Rawls received the Mark 9 cell buster from me, and blank, or they would be sprayed. Compliance was not gained, and Captain Rawls verbalized spray before spraying Schabusiness. Shortly after this gained compliance, and we opened the trap to restrain Schabusiness. Schabusiness was compliant with the application of restraints. Schabusiness then began to spit at the ground and was given directives to stop spitting, to which she did not comply. So a spit mask was applied. We then assisted Schabusiness to a standing position and escorted her to the RHU shower. She was tethered to the blank shower door. Assisted standing position. Okay, let's see. They performed a strip search. Same stuff we already read, basically how they tethered her back up. Okay. On the above day, Captain Rawls was alerted via alert tone that an inmate restrictive housing unit. So that's what that's what RHU stands for. I know I could have looked it up, but I just restrictive housing unit was exposed to capacitating agent due to her blank. I responded to the unit where I observed Sergeant Montez with MK OC canister in her hands, given direction to inmate Schabusiness. Blank, something redacted, and it says, I looked into the cell and could see inmate Schabusiness blank. I then deployed controlled bursts of the Mark 9 Phantom into her cell and secured the top food port. Directives were given to her and she refused directives. This time I could see it was affecting inmate Schabusiness as she was coughing and blank. Schabusiness was then placed in restraints and the cell door was open. Schabusiness was then placed in a kneeling position and I had the cell door re-secured once inmate Schabusiness was out of the cell. She was spitting on Officer Coleman. Oh, wait, no. It says inmate Schabusiness was spitting and Officer Coleman gave her numerous directives to stop. She then spit on the floor again, and I had staff apply a spit mask. Okay. No injuries reported, so that's good. No contraband was found during the strip search. Okay. This is July 12th, so this is a different one. Let me take a sip because this is going to be a new thing. It's a different date. Okay. On July 12th, 2025, Captain Brick was working at TCI as blank officer. A cell extraction was pending in the RHU building, and I was directed by Lieutenant Colin to act as the camera holder for the cell extraction team. Prior to the cell extraction, inmate Schabusiness had assaulted staff and was placed into a restraint chair as a reactionary use of force. Schabusiness was current in the chair in a holding cell. I retrieved the camera from the RHU sergeant station and began recording as soon as I arrived to the scene. Approximately 15 minutes had passed of me recording Schabusiness before a cell extraction team was assembled, briefed, and arrived to the holding cell. Lieutenant Colin briefed inmate Schabusiness, informing her of all the steps that was about to take place. In addition, he questioned her on the whereabouts of the weapon that was used to injure staff. She stated that she didn't have it. The cell door was open and the team brought the restraint chair and Schabusiness and inmate Schabusiness out of it. They then placed a spit mask on her head. They then methodically began removing the restraint chair restraints. Eventually, all restraints from the chair were removed, and Schabusiness' hands were secured behind her back with wrist restraints. Leg restraints were on the duration of the incident that I was privy to. After Schabusiness' hands were secured behind her back, she was assisted to her feet by escorting staff. They secured her against an open cell door, and at that time, she was again informed that her clothing was to be removed by staff and staff-assisted strip search would take place. Her clothing was then removed with the shears. During the removal of her clothing, a piece of paper or folder note fell from her person. Lieutenant Colin collected the paper. After all of her clothing was removed, a staff-assisted strip search was completed. Staff then used a blanket to cover her and to provide decency during the escort. She was then escorted to a cell front. She was directed to kneel and the leg restraints were removed. Staff then assisted her back to her feet and she was directed into the cell. All restraints and the spit mask were removed. Schabusiness was offered and refused medical attention. Schabusiness was compliant during the process. Staff were then directed to the property room where a camera debriefing was completed. No staff injuries were reported at the time of incident. It should be noted that after Schabusiness was removed from the holding cell, staff found a sharpened, pointed object that would be identified as a shank. The metal piece of the shank appeared to be taken from a metal piece or from a metal fence. That item was also collected. Did I miss one? Because this is the one where I think she attacks him with a sharp object, right? I guess not. I'm sure they'll explain it more. Okay, so this is the same incident. It says around 11:45 a.m. I asked Officer McGaw. That's another one. McGaw. I want to say McGraw. Gilbert and McGraw, but it's McGaw and Gibber. Anyway, I asked Officer McGaw to assist with getting inmate Schabusiness back to her cell from law library. As I approached the law library booth, inmate Schabusiness was facing the door with nothing in her hands and a pen and notebook on the table. Then stated, "Are y'all coming to get me?" That's what she said. To which we responded, "Yes." I unlocked the door and propped it open by standing halfway into the booth, with my other half holding the door open, as this is a very small space. CO McGaw entered the cell and removed the tether from inmate Schabusiness's left wrist. While in law library, inmate Schabusiness had group restraints on to access the keyboard and mouse easier. Schabusiness then lunged at CA McGaw and attempted to attack him. I instantly secured inmate Schabusiness and assisted her out of the room. Um, So she assisted her out of the room and to the floor in the hallway behind the RHU control bubble. I looked at CO McGaw, who was checking his torso area, when he quickly came and secured inmate's head to the floor. Um, wow. I yelled for Lieutenant Collin as he was on the unit. He was on unit and radio traffic. Was taken by RHU control officer calling for responded. Lieutenant Collin responded very quickly. CO Kruk was also working RHU. CO McGaw stated that inmate Schabusiness tried to stab him with an unknown object, but most likely a shank. A shank is a homemade knife or a sharp weapon for stabbing, commonly used by prisoners or inmates, or prisoners, inmates, whatever. Team 1 responders were on unit at this time. I looked at McGaw and notified him that he had a noticeable blank. Did she get him? Did she actually stab him? At this time, CO McGaw had a blank and unknown if the weapon had broken skin. Oh, he probably had a hole in his shirt or something, so they don't even know if he didn't know. I wonder, let's see. He'd be bleeding. Lieutenant Collin cleared CO McGaw from the incident to be checked by the nurses. About a minute goes by and I noticed that I have a blank. I notified Lieutenant Collin, who rotated me out of the situation to be checked by nurses. So he has maybe a stab wound too. Let's see. After checking on McGaw, he informed me that after I assisted inmate Schabusiness to the ground, she looked at myself with the shank still in her hand, and that's why he came quickly to secure her head. Wow. Huh. McGaw was checked by nurses. There's some redacted, and it says, myself and McGaw were transported to SSM Health by state van to get our injuries checked and blood drawn. This incident was also filed with the I forget how to say that. Fond du Lac police. Fond du Lac, I don't know. I used to know because, dude, so did she stab them both? But why don't I remember this charge? That first incident we read, she got it charged. We watched the hearing. That was the last hearing we watched a couple months ago. But I don't remember this, her being charged for this. Maybe it's still coming. Do you guys remember where she stabbed two? Sounds like she stabbed both of them, right? Anyway, let's see. It says nothing further to report. Photos of the injuries were taken by the supervisors. This should definitely be on her record. Let's see if it says anything. Wow. Okay. So this is this is still the same incident. I, Lieutenant Collin, was working my assigned post as first shift lieutenant. While in RHU assisting with the unit climate at approximately 12:10 hours, I heard emergent yet garbled radio on Officer 2 Kruk's radio. Unsure of where the incident was taking place, I immediately made my way over to the RHU sliding doors. During my response, I observed Officer Smith in the bubble screaming on the radio, trying to get my attention. Again, the radio traffic was garbled due to the frantic situation. Once at the blank sliding doors, I noticed the doors not closing. Because of this, I returned my attention to the officer in the bubble who was pointed at the other side of the bubble nearest the unit visiting booths. With this information, I made my way over this side of the bubble and observed two officers on the ground with unknown inmate. Upon asking what had transpired, I learned that Officer McGall was assaulted via an unknown sharp object. Officer McGall stated that he had been blank. With this information, I immediately radioed the control center, informed them of a staff assault via a sharp object in RHU. The alert tone sounded at approximately 12:11. Dispatching team 1 responders to the scene. At this time, institution control closed down all outside recreation and brought institution movement to a halt during this incident. I know it is. It is insane. Um, during the hold on. At this closed down. Okay, where am I at? Okay, brought institution movement to a halt. During this time, I then learned the aggressor was inmate Schabusiness. Once I had adequate staff present, I directed Officer McGall to remove himself from the situation. I made the decision because the situation allowed for the injured officer to be removed and have their injuries assessed by medical staff. While officers worked to secure inmate Schabusiness's hands, Officer Cleveland informed me that he too was also injured and in need of medical attention. At this time, again assessing the situation and observing the adequacy and staffing numbers at the scene, I removed Officer Cleveland to also be assessed by medical personnel. See, that's the thing. Right there, she didn't care if she killed them. Like, she was trying to stab him. Like, what if she would have got like the neck, or what if they weren't able to secure her in time and she got two stabs, and or she got a spot that was a deadly, some artery or something. So I'm saying that's scary because she doesn't care. She didn't care. Her obviously she was trying to probably kill them. She was trying to stab them and probably kill them. And that is just I would never want to be, oh my God, that would I just would never want to be handling her. I wonder if like they're scared every time they have to move her, or they're like more like feel secure that they could take care of the situation. I don't know, but dude, she could have killed them right there if she got the right spot. And they weren't able to get her restrained quick enough. Anyway, please note that although the RHU intake cell was only a few feet away, given the inmates' recent events, I found it necessary for staff safety for the use of additional restraints via the restraint chair. I know, I'll say. I still have to write her because I mean, still to learn, you know. Of course, I'm saying I agree with what she did, but like to interview one of these people. I'd love to interview Koberg or interview any of them. It doesn't mean that I agree with them or anything, but I think it's possible. I was saying that if I write her, and it's possible for me to actually get a phone call and be able to interview her on the phone. It really is. I just need to get my butt there and write her the letter. For 2 years I was but wait, it's been like almost 2 years, I feel like, maybe a year. But wait, when did the collector no, it was when I was, covering her with all the body cams and stuff. I think that was almost 2 years ago. He told her that I was gonna be writing her, so she was gonna be looking for, writing, so I probably would have got a response, and then I could have had her call me in an interview like that girl from Law and Crime did. She got to interview her over the phone. Um, that could have been me. I still can. I just need to write the letter. Um, okay. Where are we at? Where are we at? Attach the waste belt. Okay. Oh, so they're talking about the restraint when they're in that library, there's certain type of restraints that they have. So it says at this time, so he's saying, I found it necessary for safety for use of additional restraints via the restraint chair. At this time, staff were made aware of that inmate business was wearing a set of group restraints. Group restraints are a set of tethers attached to a waist belt. At the end of each tether are single handcuffs. Okay, I think I understand. Set of tethers, and they have the handcuffs. Okay. Each that secure the inmate's wrist. Please note the use for the group restraints is to allow inmates in a more secured status, such as disciplinary separation. The opportunity to use legal library as an example. This allows inmates to still be secured with restraints, however, gives them a bit more freedom as the tethers allows the inmates to hands to approximately 2 feet away from their body. This allows the inmate to use keyboards, pens, and papers. So it sounds like they're still close like this, but they're 2 feet so they could actually use outward, so they could actually use the keyboard or mouse, um, or pens or paper. Please note at the time of the incident, Officer McGall, along with Officer Cleveland, were in the process of returning the inmate to their cell after utilizing the legal library in the restrictive housing unit. Because of the restraints that were on the inmate and the unknown whereabouts of the weapon used to assault staff, I directed staff to place another set of handcuffs on the inmate. I also directed staff to secure a waist belt around the inmate. The difference between a waist belt and a group restraint is the waist belt fastens the inmate's hands against their body, primarily under the chest. Given my position as a supervisor on scene, I designated Sergeant Rodriguez as team leader of all staff present. This decision gave me the ability to oversee the situation while giving a lead worker and someone more engaged physically with the situation the ability to give direction, ensuring staff and inmate safety. With all directions given, inmate Schabusiness was fastened in the restraint chair without incident. Please note, a spit mask was applied to the inmate as a precaution due to their unpredictable behavior. At this time, I made the decision to place the inmate into controlled status because this would require a cell extraction team. Um, I directed staff to secure the inmate in the RHU intake cell as they remained secured in the restraint chair. At this time, I vacated the intake area and reported to the property room where I was able to make contact with the ADO. The ADO was informed of the situation, followed by Blake, if incapacitated agents were to be utilized. I then informed ADO of my decision to perform a staff assisted strip search due to the unknown whereabouts of the weapon. With all the information given, the ADO found it necessary to proceed. At 12:50, I assembled a cell extraction team consisting of the following staff. And then it says once assembled, I completed an introduction of our team via BWC body worn camera due to the Captain Brick maintaining video footage of the inmate. After the completion of the introduction at approximately 13:08 hours, the team and I made our way to the RHU intake area. The plan was to remove the straps of the restraint chair that secure the inmate's chest from either side of their shoulders. These straps fasten like traditional seatbelts in most automobiles. They are also equipped with grips that allow staff to tighten the straps once secured to ensure the inmate remains fastened in the chair. This is one of the 4 restraints utilized on the restraint chair to ensure proper security of the inmate. Once these restraints were removed, the team would then have the inmate lean forward and remove the group restraints. Please note the inmate would still be fastened by the traditional waistband and handcuffs, which provide further security. Once the group restraints were removed, one arm at a time would be removed from each handcuffed and that are currently securing the inmate via the waist belt. Once one arm was removed and a new set of handcuffs would be applied to the inmate's wrist. The same procedure would be repeated with the other arm until the inmate was safely handcuffed behind the back. Once this was complete, a waist strap and leg strap restraint chair would be removed. At this point, staff would stand the inmate up, securing them against the open door, and Officer Schwartz would then remove the inmate's clothing step by step via Dura shears and per the team leader's instruction. Once all articles of clothing were removed, the inmate would then be pat searched, including the separation of both butt cheeks to ensure no further contraband was present. Once completed, the inmate would be provided a RIP blanket for their modesty. I choose to use a RIP blanket due to its ability to still cover the inmate. However, it reduced the risk of any tampering or mishaps during the escort. Once at the inmate's cell door, they would be released from all restraints and secured into a blank cell in controlled status. In the cell, the only property allowed would be a RIP gown, which would be waiting for the inmate in the cell. With our plan in place, all aspects of the plan were performed without incident. Via Officer Gundram's direction and my overall observation of the plan, use of force, the items of contraband that were discovered during the staff-assisted strip search are as follows. Paper in the form of a letter with unintelligible writing found in the inmate's underwear, and a sharpened piece of metal approximately 4 inches in length. The sharpened piece of metal was wrapped at the non-sharpened side with what appears to be a piece of wool fabric from the wool blankets provided on the unit, followed by a piece of red washcloth also provided on the unit. Please note the sharpened metal items were found in the inmate's right bra. The item was videotaped for further documentation by Captain Brick. After all planned aspects were performed without incident, the inmate was safely secured in blank at approximately 13:31. The inmate was informed of their status change and appeared to be indifferent about it. At this time, the staff and I returned to the property room to conduct a debrief. So I have a question, you guys. She used the weapon to get both of them. That means she had it in her hand. So does she have a second weapon, a separate shank in her bra? Because I don't see how, if she had the one in her hand, there's no way she'd be able to get that back in her bra. Or maybe she would be able to, but you'd think they would have her so secured at that point, hands seen, and you wouldn't think she'd be able to put it back in her bra. So my question is, was there actually 2 weapons or just one? Was she able to put it back in her bra? Okay, maybe she did. Wow. Not the wrong bra. I think they meant the right side. I'm pretty sure they meant the right side. Because there's 2 sides. You know what I'm saying? Okay. All right. So she must have got it back in her bra then. Wow. Because, yeah, I guess they would have said 2 weapons were found. So it has to be just the one, right? Anyway, where are we at? Oh, wait, hold on, we're not done. Hold on. Okay. Please note, at no time did the inmate appear to be remorseful for their actions or verbalize anything to that effect. She's not. After the completion of the planned use of force, the ADO was contacted with the time of placement and the safety of all staff members, confirmed during a brief. Present during the planned use of force, not too long after this point, our institution warden and security director were also made aware of the initial incident and its conclusion as well. Other personnel informed were the DAI on call, the incident command reporting group, and the local law enforcement as well. All evidence was documented and secured into evidence. The documentation accompanying the evidence, which is all secured in Sharp's container. Both staff members injured in this event were provided injury packets for further documentation. I need to change my title because she clearly stabbed them with that object. I don't remember what I put on the title, but I definitely didn't put that, but that could be a good title. Wow. Okay, supervisor comments. RHU assisting heard staff screaming, responded to RHU bubble area, observed 2 staff on the ground with an inmate was informed by staff of what occurred. A staff assault requested additional staff directed to remove themselves from an inmate attempted to use a sharp metal object, staff directed to retrieve restraint chair. Why is this written like that? Some of these words are together and they shouldn't be. To retrieve restraint chair, inmate was in group restraint, staff or returned inmate, and there's not punctuation. I noticed that none of them has proper punctuation now. What's up, Psychedelic Soul Jam and Celia Gallegos? Hey guys. Okay, where are we at? Turning inmate from law library group, restraints placed with waist belt team leader, designed or designated for remainder of incident, inmate placed in restraint chair due to assault, spit mask. Okay, looking forward or and wait, prepared placement suit up team notified of moving forward with staff assisted strip due to potentiality of a weapon. All plans approved. Okay, this is the same stuff. I'm gonna skip some of this. Same incident. Wow. This one says, while respondent Lieutenant Collin gave an update that a sharp object weapon was used and the need for a possible ambulance. When I arrived, RHU and responding staff already had inmate Schabusiness secured face down on the floor outside the RHU visiting booth area and were preparing to have her placed in a restraint chair. The injured staff were removed from the scene and were being evaluated by medical staff in an examination room. When the officers were asked what type of weapon was used, they were both unsure, only that was a sharp object. It was a hard, sharp object. Business was secured. When she was secured, she was escorted via the restraint chair to an RHU intake holding. What's this say? We then tried to determine what type of weapon was used because the only item located as a possible weapon in the visiting booth law library was a standard segregation pen, which she was allowed while using it as the law library. This, however, was not matching up with the injury sustained or a description given by involved staff. So I asked the business what she had used as a weapon, and she said a pen. Due to this extreme violent act, business was to be placed in control status. Um, moving another inmate currently in blank status to blank available blank cell to free up that cell. Lieutenant Collin then put together an entry team that would be needed to safely remove Business from the restraint chair so that she could be placed in the blank cell. The team consisted of myself as pad 1, Garcia as pad 2, and team leader Gundram, restraints Schwartz, and Captain Brick on camera. Once assembled, we went to the intake door and she was told by Lieutenant Collin to follow our directives, which would include her being removed from the restraint chair, a staff assisted strip search, and placement into control status. Failure to comply or any aggression towards staff would result in immediate escalation of force if necessary. It says, I noticed that Business had her hands clenched with something in one of the hands. I told her to open the hands, and it was the spit mask that had been put on earlier. The spit mask was then put back on her, and a door was put on her wrist, or door tether was put on her wrist. She was then repositioned further away from the door so that the chair restraints could be removed. Where are we at? Lean forward, put her hands behind her back. She was handcuffed. Trying to skip through some of this. Okay, so Colonel Schwartz or CO Schwartz, it's not Colonel. CO Schwartz first cut off her pants and then her shirt, at which point I could see some type of contraband beneath her bra. I notified the team of the contraband. And when her bra was cut off, this as well as some other paper items fell to the floor. I then kicked this item away from us and back into the intake cell. After all the clothing had been removed and no other contraband was located, Business was covered in a ripped blanket and escorted to be prepared blank cell. At the cell door, Business was tethered to the door and assisted to a kneeling position. Okay. I then went back to the RHU intake area to see what item that was inside her bra. I discovered that it was approximately a 4 to 5 inch section of metal fencing that had been sharpened to a point at one end and wrapped in cloth and thread at the other end, forming a handle. This item was then turned over to Lieutenant Collin to be put into evidence. She is something else. Yeah, same stuff. I'm gonna skip this one. Yeah. This is the same incident too. Let me see real quick if that has anything new. Oh, let's see. What does it say? Saw officers Cleveland and McGall on the ground stabilizing the inmate. I asked what was going on, and Officer Cleveland said, Schabusiness is under here. I asked both officers, Are you okay? And Cleveland said, McGall got hit with something. I asked McGall if he was okay, and he said, blank. I then got on the ground to help stabilize Schabusiness. I told McGall to go, but Officer McGall stayed helping stabilize Schabusiness until Colin arrived. And I told him he may be hurt. Get him out of here. I yelled more than once to Schabusiness, what do you have on you? What do you have? She kept repeating, it's my shit. You aren't going to take it. Oh my Lord. When Sergeant Rodriguez arrived to help assist, Lieutenant Colin made her team lead. Sergeant Rodriguez requested that we roll Schabusiness onto her back because she wanted to get handcuffs on her. I made the request to put a spit mask on Schabusiness before we rolled her over. Lieutenant Collins said that we could put one on her. Schabusiness was in the law library on the unit, so she had on group restraints, which gives you a lot of movement to the left and right, and you're also restrained in front versus the back. On the count of 3, Rodriguez, Collin, and Cleveland moved Schabusiness to a seating position. I let Schabusiness know that what we were doing the whole time. I applied handcuffs onto her wrist. Okay, so they put her in that chair and strip search her and took her to the area to strip search her. Okay. And then it says they found that sharpened down from a metal piece sharpened down from the outside rec fence. So this says, after the restraint was removed, I stood up to then see Schabusiness lunge towards me with a makeshift weapon and attempt to push it into blank. CO Cleveland immediately placed hands on Schabusiness and destabilized her, causing both of them to fall to the ground outside of the room. As he was attempting to gain control of the situation, I then saw Schabusiness try to locate Cleveland with the makeshift weapon still in her control in her right hand. I then secured her head to the ground and attempted to secure her right hand as she still had the weapon. She attempted to free her arm and I was trying to secure it. Cleveland gave her the verbal command to stop. Shortly after, Colin arrived to the situation with additional responders. Responders then relieved me from the situation as they took my spot securing her. I was sent into the nurse's room to get checked for any injuries and was informed to not come out of the room by Colin. There's some redacted stuff, and it says from where the makeshift weapon made contact. Cleveland was then removed from the situation and made his way into the nurse's room to be checked up on. Then there's some redacted. It says we were then informed to make our way to the gatehouse to be taken to the hospital to have blood work done. Photos were taken for evidence. And it says FDLPD was spoken to about the situation. Oh my God, it's the same thing. The way my brain is, I can't just skip seeing it's the same thing. I have to make sure there's nothing new in it. Report. I think this is the same thing. What? Yep. Man. Says I talked to them and informed them they both could have off their overtime shift due to the situation. Staff were followed up with an offer of peer support and employee services. Man, can't imagine dealing with her. Excuse me. Description incident. Writers responded to the restricted housing unit for Team 1 responders for staff assault. I need to just page down. That's what I should be doing. Okay. This is the same thing too, right? Okay, yeah, this is explaining the strip search right here. Um, okay, not yeah, I don't think there's anything. Yeah. Same thing. Oh my god, why does that keep coming up? It's one of those things I need to get out of my system, like that, I have to uninstall stuff that what is that other freaking, security, that even if you don't agree to it, it comes with all computers and oh, I forget what it's called. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? You have to, like, uninstall it, and still there's sometimes remnants of it in your computer, and you can't like, they say it's so hard to get rid of it. Okay, so that's not it, but it's like that. It's annoying the crap out of me. McAfee, yes, thank you. It's exactly. They say don't use that for security. It's scam. Like it's not. I don't know. I never use it for security because I heard bad things about it. But it usually comes on your computers and you have to get rid of them. All right. This is just the strip search here. Yeah. Man, I'm ready to go eat my dinner. Unless if there's another incident report. I don't think there is. I don't remember. Oh yeah, here there is a new one here. Okay, on the above date and approximate time, I, Sergeant Plate, was working my assigned post. When I was informed by COI Davis, who was in the RHU bubble, that inmate Schabusiness in cell blank was flooding her cell. I then went to the cell and attempted to start a dialogue with inmate Schabusiness, but was unable to get a response. At which time I went to this chase first cell. Wait, hold on. Where did I was trying to look at a date, so I looked away because I wanna compare to my last incident reports to see if this is a different time she was flooding it. I think it is. I don't think this is that incident where I was, had the other incident reports from before where she was flooding it. I think it's the same thing. Let's see. I don't see a date though. At which time I went into the chase for cell blank and turned the toilet water off in an attempt to get inmate Schabusiness to stop flooding her cell. CPT Rawls was notified immediately about the situation and that toilet water was turned off, but the water to the sink remained on. Now, maybe this is the same thing. I remember they did the same thing. They kept the sink on, turned the toilet off. It appeared inmate Schabusiness had left her foot in the toilet. It is unknown if there was anything else in the toilet below her foot. The toilet water was turned off at approximately 8:30 and turned back on at 9:45. Was not submitted due to the sink remaining on and inmate Schabusiness having access to water. Let me see the date of this because I do want to see if this. So 7/16. I'll let you know maybe in comments when I look up my previous incident reports if this is a different time or if this is the same one where she was flooding it. I don't think it is because I think I had gotten the order before this date. This is just July 16th. I'm pretty sure my last time I got incident report. Yeah, it was. Wait, it 100% was before that date. It had to, I think, wait, maybe not. I ordered it before that date. I might have got it after the date because it took forever to come in. I'll have to see. I don't know though. I don't why do I not think it's the same one? So says the exact same thing. They turned off the toilet and not the sink. I'll have to find the file for that. Hold on. Flooding cell directed to stop water, not water turned off to cell. Still have water to the sink. Notified had used her foot in the toilet, no other objects. So she was actually, so basically she was using her foot to flood it, right? Is that what they're saying? She was somehow using her foot to do the flooding. So it was turned off for a 1 hour and 15 minutes, not completed due to having access to drinking water. A lot of times they'll shove stuff down there to clog it and flood it, right? So they're saying they didn't see anything else besides her foot. She's too much. I swear. Okay, that's the end of it. Hold on. I'm gonna find my file. I should be able to find it real quick from my last incident reports, and we will see. So this one was from 7/16. Okay, hold on. I was saying, are you remembering, was it her foot last time? Because if it was, it probably, well, actually, I take that back. I'm sure if it worked last time, she would use the same thing to do it again, though, right? If her foot worked last time. So it might not necessarily mean that it's a separate one that might just work for her. She don't need anything but her freaking foot, you know? All right, hold on. Let me look at my files real quick. So I have to look I have like 4 different, whatchamacallits, what do you call it? External thing drives for my data. So I have to look at every one. Okay. The first 2, it wasn't on the first 2. Okay, let's see. All right, it has to be in one of these. No. Hold on. Schabusiness. What did I put it under? I have to have it under, oh, Taylor line, let's see. I guess I could look at my video, but I mean, hold on, just bear with me, guys. Huh. Okay, one last drive. I don't understand where what I would have put these under. I have like all of her files, but not that. That was like more recent and everything too. Where would I put it? Hold on, let me think here. I still have one more place to look. I'm trying to find that drive here. There. Here, I think I found it. Incident report. Yes, I found them. Okay. It was on the last one. All right, so let's see. Schabusiness report attacking. Jail employee, or there's that report I was talking about where it's actually the charging document thing, it gives more details, or different details, I should say, which it was. Yep, here it is. Okay, so let me see. No, these are from, these ones have my watermark. I forgot to do a watermark on. Oh, well. I don't really care sometimes. I mean, I don't know. Okay, hold on. Let me share my screen. It's different. These aren't the same. Look, why haven't I been through all of them? But it looks like they're from 2023. It's the last incident reports I read. So it looks like they're from 2023. See, hold on, let me make this bigger. But let me see. Hold on, let's see. Actually, I'll keep it like this. Let's scroll down and see, though. Maybe it does go to 2024. Yes, I could see it's still 2023. That's why I'm going through it fast. See? But that was 12/2023, so we are going to get a little bit in 2024. But see, the stuff that I just ordered started at 7/24. So this might take me up to 7/24, because I'm pretty sure when I order these, I probably continued it and ordered after what I had already got. You know what? Does that make sense? Sorry, I put so many orders out. I can't remember exactly how I ordered it, but that's typically what I would do. If I already got some of them, I would continue from the dates I left off at, if that makes sense. So it probably is going to end at 7/24, but maybe there's a little bit of overlap. So let's see. No, this is still 2023. It went backwards a little bit here. I think it's a different, that last one is yeah, because that was 2025. It's definitely got to be a different one. Yeah, that was a different flooding. So yeah, she probably does that often. Yep, it took me basically to June 2024. So that's what I did. I thought I would do that. That'd only make sense, right? Ordered it from where I left off. So I ordered it from 7/24 to current. So yeah, different flooding attempt. And if I'm remembering, I was saying, did she not use her foot for that too, right? Or I don't know why I'm remembering something about her foot. But go check it out, because those are some funny ones. She remember, doesn't she steals the Vaseline? She steals Vaseline from the in the last incident reports. What else did she do kind of funny in that? She lifted up her shirt. I know that was one thing. She lifted up her shirt and flashed the guards. She stole their Vaseline. She flooded her cell. Uh yeah, I don't remember everything else. Hey, there you are. How's a Charlotte? Anthony, Stacks Charlotte. But yeah, so you guys comment. I need to get my algorithms up. I know it's my own fault because I took so much time off of lives recently. That's what you get if it's my fault. You can't be consistent. YouTube, you got to be consistent, or yeah, look how I lost. And this is stuff that I haven't seen anybody else have her incident report. So it's actually like new stuff, but I know it's the algorithms from me taking so much time off lately from lives. But I have been doing pre-record, so check out my what have I done recently? I guess I did a David one, and then my pre-records take so long to edit that I'm constantly working, but it looks like I'm not putting that much stuff out, but I'm editing and those Discord stuff with the David to get like interesting chats and then put it all together. But I don't know. Let me know in comments. Comment, you guys, please. Everybody in here, just put one of your thoughts on one of the instant reports or whatever. Comment something because that helps. It does. Um, but also let me know if you think I should start covering the Nancy Guthrie case. I wish I would have started like a week ago when I wanted to, but I was already like almost a week late, and I kept saying, "Well, I should have done it at the beginning. I'm just not going to cover it." But I keep watching it and keep paying attention because my mom's like so into it. So I need to, huh? It's interesting. She's got me hooked. I kept saying, "No, like, mom, I'm not gonna cover it." And then like she's telling me every day about it, and they got me hooked this last week. I'm like, oh my gosh. Um, how many people? Yeah, I think I did one quick pre-record today from the person that they detained and released because I wanted to do like a side by side from the um that, Ring camera and kinda compare it to that guy they detained. They haven't cleared him. They let him go. They have his phone, so I'm sure they're gonna go through his phone and see, and then they'll clear him like the FBI, what's his name, Patel, he said, "You're not cleared," basically till he says you're cleared, so they haven't technically cleared him. They probably couldn't hold him any longer. They let him go, and I won't be satisfied that he's cleared until they say he's cleared after they look through his phone. He might not be him. He might not have anything to do with it, but they have his phone. They're going to look through it. Hopefully. Well, I don't know if I should say hopefully he'll be clear because we need to figure out what happened to her. So here's the thing. Yeah, they searched his house and she wasn't there, but I think the person that went and got her could be the middleman. Like he could have just taken her and dropped her off somewhere. Just the guy they pay him, he goes and gets her. Such a weird case. Have you been following it, Anthony? Got me hooked now. Um, yeah, okay. Maybe I will start doing it. Oh, cool, Celia. I'm glad. Nice to have you here. I know it is weird, and it's weird because they've been at their house. The cops have been at her house. Like, why so much cop presence at her house if they're not suspecting him? And then Ashley Banfield swears that her source is a good source and they say he's like one of the suspects, which doesn't mean that once they look into him that they're going to find that he's guilty, but it could be somebody that's on their radar that's they're one of the suspects that they're thinking, which would still make Ashley correct. She's not saying they, I mean, then you got to investigate him and it could just be like, nope, we thought it was him, but it wasn't. Now, he's not the guy that's in the Ring camera, but he could have had some because you could tell it's not him, but he could have had somebody he knows. I think that there's a good chance it's personal because if it was just a robbery, they would have just left her there. If they wanted to kill her or whatever. The fact that they took her, it's either personal or I'm not convinced the whole ransom thing, it being random. Okay. So either it's personal or it could be personal. It has nothing to do with money and it's just personal, like there's some kind of feud and I don't know. The ransom thing is weird because I'm not convinced that all those people did different ransoms. Is that just somebody taking advantage of the opportunity of knowing that she's worth a lot of money? Her sister, Savannah, has a lot of money and they see that she's been taken. So they're like, oh, we'll just pretend it's me. And because didn't the first ransom note come days later? Because I didn't start following it right away. So right at the beginning, those first few days, I'm a little hazy. I need to look into that because, but didn't it come like a few days later, the ransom? No, wait, it did. You think it did? Wait, her first message, you mean the video that she did, right? I watched it. I watched the behavior panel's analysis on the 3 videos. Are you talking about the video or are you saying some other post that she wrote out or something? Um, but I keep telling my mom as she was telling me about it all week, I kept saying, "I bet you the brother-in-law they have to suspect the brother-in-law for some reason because they're at the house. Like, why are they at the house?" It's weird. I was like it's gotta be something personal, or like I said, like, I guess it could just be a delivery driver, somebody that randomly knew she was worth a lot of money and thought that the whole ransom thing, but tell me or remind me, why do you think wait, I didn't catch it being Silence of the Lambs, remind me why you think that, and then I'll rewatch it. I didn't catch that. Um, okay, so you guys, when did that ransom thing come? Was it really days after she was taken? The first ransom note or whatever, the first email, when was it? Because you would think if it was that, they would've time matters, like, for that for them for somebody that does a ransom and the possibility of them actually getting the money, the more time that passes, the more doubt that the family is gonna think that she's still alive, you know what I'm saying? So the fact that did it really come days later? Can somebody help me out there? Is that just that part's like, man, that makes me think that it was somebody just taking advantage of the situation and saying that after the fact. I don't know, it's weird. I mean, I keep going back and forth with different scenarios. I don't know. I do know though that guy they detained, if you look at his teeth and his mustache and the little space of like the way this hair grows on his mustache, oh my god, it's identical. He's got like that little space where there's like where the lip right here and the mustache and how it falls and everything, and then his little teeth because he hit there in the teeth, there's like kind of like this little indent right here. I can't explain it, but I feel like his mouth is so right on with the guy they detained and let go. So I get why they thought that it could be him. Now he might be innocent. I mean, might not. He might just look like him, but I get why they thought he looked like him because he. And then that enhanced video, you could tell if that enhanced video now is accurate. That enhanced photo of the guy, you could tell he looks darker. And that, but I don't know because sometimes you could enhance a photo and it does it not accurately. So I don't. I wish I knew like how did they enhance that photo? But the enhanced photo makes him look like he is darker, has a darker skin. Um, aw, alright, yeah, let me do it. Okay, wait, another YouTuber actually played their video, then the Silence of the Lambs part, and it's eerily similar. But what part of Silence of the Lambs? I haven't watched that movie forever. I love that movie though, but it's been a while. What part are they saying that it's similar to? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Remind me, will you email me, Celia? Because I'm gonna end this. I gotta go eat dinner. Email me, email this one because I don't know if my Proton sometimes doesn't work, but I'm very curious and I want to know what you're talking about. So email me this and maybe you could explain better. I'm giving you my email, my personal email. Email this. Oh my God, I have this help thing where I can't even send a, why is that doing that? No, I don't want help. Dude, it's not letting me share this chat. It has this help. The heck? I can't even comment. Oh, it went through. That was so weird. The help thing was blocking the arrow to push it. And then even when I hit enter, it'd be like help. Okay. Email me and just try to explain what part of Silence of the Lambs you're talking about. Cause I'm trying to picture what part would that be similar to? It's gotta be, well, I don't know. All right, guys. Okay, cool. Bye, guys. I'm gonna go eat some dinner. Thanks for coming. And yeah, so I'm going to watch. The thing is, I'm gonna be in Columbus watching Gia Friday, so I won't be able to do it for the weekend either. So it's like, man, when am I gonna be able to do some live streams on it? Because I won't be able to really do live streams there. I don't want to. I mean, I barely get to, if I'm there, I'm gonna hang out with them, but, I gotta think here. I do wanna cover it, but now I might not even be able to start covering it until I get back. I guess tomorrow I can. Alright, thanks, Celia. Thanks, guys. Wait, who's skin psychedelic? Man, I need to maybe do a live tomorrow. Your guys' comments, it's like I wanna chat with you guys about it. Dang it. Alright. I'm gonna try to do one tomorrow on it. Oh, you think? I don't know if I think that, though. It didn't look like it was, like, puffy like that. It looked like it was real, like it was a body. Like, I don't know, I didn't get that from that, but I don't have to I don't know, I have to rewatch it. Well, I did watch that Surveillance a lot already, but alright, guys, I'm gonna go. Bye.